Hey there, everybody. This is Nate with the Clubcast Podcast. We're running a very special Halloween podcast this week here. And, of course, with me I have my usual host, Roger.
How you doing, guys? I'm Roger with DFWAV as well.
And, of course, we also have our good friend, the captain of the Electric Starship, Mr. Mike.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
And a co-founder of the Electric Starship as well, and also first time with us is going to be his good old Tate.
Bruh.
I love your intro.
Thank you.
Okay, well, I mean, we are coming up on the Halloween season right now. It's not exactly Halloween, but it's about to be close enough.
Well, it's definitely close. It's the 27th when we're recording this.
Yeah, it's
Around the
27th.
corners at this point, might as well, right?
I've lost all concept of time.
Stone's throws, boys. Stone's throws.
At least we're trying, right?
All right. Well, of course, it's spooky season on that. There's always time of, overly sexual costumes, going to haunted houses and getting free candy from strangers when we're not supposed to, but knocking on doors anyways.
I like being a juvenile delinquent.
Everybody likes being a juvenile.
That's what I did last year.
Well, your costume.
Can you be a
You live a life, dude. You just need to do it.
Can you be a juvenile delinquent when you're in your 30s, or just regular delinquent?
Well, if I shaved my face, it would have been a legit juvenile, but I
You
was
look like the guy who sells drugs
I
to
have to
middle
shave my
schoolers.
back.
Bruh, don't even start with that. Like, I'm getting sprouts on my shoulders already. It's making me depressed.
My hair is falling off my head and landing on my shoulders.
That's right.
It's the ultimate fear, age.
Yes.
That's what. Oof.
But let's go ahead and let's get this kicked off on that there. So, Mike, how about you open us up with our first one?
Okay, so different subjects here. What do y'all think is we're going to do some category stuff at first here. So what do you think is the best zombie movie?
Ooh, the best
That's
zombie
a tough
Let's
movie.
just get into it. Let's just get into
So,
it.
best zombie. Okay, so this is where the comment section kind of kicks off. I may have to shut the comments down, but
Just for briefly, just like about 10 minutes.
I've always been a fan of pretty much any of the Romero of the Dead films.
Okay.
And I would say probably
Respect.
the one that grabbed me the most was Land of the Dead.
Land
Land of the Dead was
Land
good.
of the Dead.
I
That's
would-
the one that got me. I mean,
I will give you that one. That's
the
pretty
one where
good.
the hotel was like
Yeah, the hotel
all rich
city.
people live in it.
They have
Yep.
the huge, awesome on-card Dead Reckoning. I mean, that's an awesome name for an armored vehicle.
That
It's
is a
got
great
many
name.
guns. It's got machine guns on the side.
Dead Reckoning. I was like,
And
I'm
the
not gonna
zombies
a little
were at
cliche in
the
my
point where
opinion,
they were
but
evolving themselves. They were getting smarter. You got
Yeah.
Machine guns.
Yeah, machine
Oh, yeah.
guns. Finding out they can walk into water. That was me.
That
Of the
was-
Dead series, Land of the
Of the
Dead.
Dead, Land
That's
of
my
the
yeah.
Dead.
zombie.
All right.
I would say that's a good one. That's a good one.
Roger?
Honestly, for me, it was. I'm not gonna lie. I really was more fascinated with 28 Days Later. Like,
Ooh, nice.
I like that one. Uh,
This is a tough pull from a zombie standpoint because
Yeah.
you're taking something very established that zombies
Yeah.
walk, and you're putting them with a rage virus. And
Yeah.
they can run screamingly fast at you.
and the worst part with that one is like they really didn't. And
They weren't shambling like a zombie that's decaying would, because
Yeah.
these people were instantly turning so all the
That's
muscle
another
was
thing,
still
too, is
Rape
like-
zombies is what they were
Yeah.
called.
yeah,
Rape
it's like
zombies.
what would you even classify it? But for that one, I like how like the premise of it, the execution. For me, I like how they went about that one because me growing up with Resident Evil, I'm like very big on zombie virus. So to me, so to me that's what kind of stuck with me.
Zombie game now.
Oh, right. To be exact, Resident Evil 4. But
I got you.
That's
But
like
no.
6.
well, that's another time. But yeah, no. 28 Days Later, that was what kind of caught my eye, and of course that kind of opened the door for the whole zombie genre. Like the remake of Dawn of the Dead.
So you love the Resident Evil movies, right?
Just the CG movies. That's
Those
another.
are tough. They're making a new one that looks like it's straight off a video.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
We'll bring this. We'll bring it up in a little bit.
All right,
if you want to talk about it.
So, being like the time that I grew up in, my most influential zombie movie in my head is going to be Zack Snyder's 2004 Dawn of the Dead.
The reimagining.
Okay.
The original
That's
one,
great.
the original one
Yeah.
was in like 1978 or something.
yeah, it was like the
Yeah,
black
like
one.
running rage zombies,
Yeah.
but it's also people stuck in a mall.
And
Yeah.
I'll even go like slightly more into it as so in that movie there's a scene where he falls into the fountain that has dead bodies in it,
Yeah.
and he cuts his arm on a sharp piece of metal in the water that has dead zombies in it, and that eventually turns him into a zombie.
Yeah.
And as far as standing out, as far as the zombie movie is concerned, that one's cemented in my head forever.
Mm-hmm. That was actually a pretty good one.
I mean, you had Ving Rhames in that movie first.
Dude, I love
He
Ving
did-
Rhames.
He did the great, big buff cop thing going on there. You had the zombie baby. That movie had a zombie baby.
That threw me off a little bit. That
gave
kinda, like,
birth to a zombie baby.
That
Right?
That actually threw me
Yeah.
off. Like I did not expect that at all.
And then you had the prepper. You have the one thing you don't see a lot of zombies, and we see a lot in zombies, but you get the one where he kind of does okay for a good bit of time. He has the prepper, he's a crusher, and he's
Starved to death.
Starved to death, pretty much.
Yeah, he was starving to death. They were trying to get him.
That's the guy who was like across the way.
gunshot.
Yeah, and he was on the roof, right?
They put the food in the dog, and they send the dog over.
Yeah.
And just
Yep.
That was a genius thing that zombies don't give a shit about animals.
Yeah, I love that.
Dogs don't give a shit about zombies. So
Yeah,
they're
they don't give a
they're
fuck.
like,
I'm over here watching the dog run, so they're just not going to see the. Are they not seeing the dog? Are they just not going to
Well,
eat
you
it?
got because you got the Romero movies where they do eat animals.
Yeah.
You see them feasting on a cow every now and then. I think this one is actually eating a dog, and I think they might do that in some of the Return of the Dead and all that.
Like I was on the assumption they would just eat anything that moved, instinctively. They're
That's
hungry.
pretty much how it goes. Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah.
And then you got your Resident Evil style zombies where it's a crazy fucking virus.
It's a virus.
The dogs don't just become eaten by zombies; they become horrifying hellhounds that
Splits in the foreheads, like.
That's when you go Las Plagas.
Yeah. You got
the T virus is what happens when that.
it's like T
One of
virus.
the mini viruses. This is some of the
Like what are they? What double A now? Double A virus.
I want to touch on because I actually wrote down as my favorite zombie movie as that Dawn of the Dead, and
Oh, nice.
Fair enough.
One more thing on that one. No one mentioned that Phil from Modern Family was in that. He was a total douchebag.
He was. That's right.
So
I
sweet
forgot.
Phil from Modern Family was just an asshole at this point.
He was one of the biggest pricks I've ever seen in that movie.
He didn't
Like,
bang the hot chick in like a shoe store or something. I don't know.
yeah, that was really weird. I was like, see, I'm gonna watch Modern Family now. I'm just like, he did stuff in that movie.
That's right. So I crossed that out though because I totally forgot my favorite zombie movie is Return of the Living Dead from the 80s.
Oh my god! Yes.
So you got, and I've actually taught one of our regulars here is a funeral director. And
Oh, wow.
He actually, I talked to him. He goes, "I love that movie the most because we were talking about it," and he said that it's the best movie representation of a funeral director. Like, or at least a coroner, or whatever the hell that guy was. He was
Coroner,
dead
yeah.
bodies. Like,
Yeah.
Coroner. That'd be who would like pronounce like why they died and all that. But
That's true, yeah.
But he said that it was amazing. The guy that was doing the embalming and everything. But you had so many layers to that movie. You had that 80s punk rock era. You had that chick that was totally obsessed with the dead and became. And you had the fact that the zombies could think and talk, and they're like, send more paramedics.
That's why they usually,
And also that eating brains somehow, like, cooled the pain. Like, they were constantly in agonizing pain. And they had, like, a full interview with a half-dead, naked zombie chick.
And she's like, answer the questions.
You had both the
wonderful nudity in horror movies.
Of course,
you had basically something that the military had screwed up, and you had a tar man in the actual canister downstairs, and he was absolutely horrifying.
Tarman,
terrifying.
That's top 5 right there. Best zombies, like as far as just being a zombie movie, Tarman goes hard.
He bites into the one.
Like they do like it's an ice cream.
Like
It's
Pumpkin's a
always like-
lifestyle, like that guy. Metal guy. Anyway, he bites into his head, and like the spray of blood gushing out. But Tarman's eating this guy's ball head. So.
But just seeing everything just drew like.
And there were so many other like fun, like a zombie is a very. When you see a zombie movie, you see it's a horde, right? Like there's not like there'll be a zombie that hangs out,
Like maybe one or
sticks
two.
out. This movie had multiple zombies that stuck
Everywhere,
out.
yeah.
So you had the tar man, you had the half dog. Remember, like all the medical supplies came to life.
Yeah.
The dog that had been split in half. He's like panting with like 2 legs wiggling, and they're freaking out and like hitting him with the
They're beating this thing. I'm like,
this half dog is feeling it.
I was like,
Then they had the original one that was just a cadaver in a bag. They just got all yellowed out. And they're cutting him all to pieces, and he's going there and shit, and had to burn him.
He's
That's
like-
what put the stuff.
And
and that's how it became.
Layers and the guy that was interviewed that just got the job, and the guy that was the boss of the medical supply. Was You Need a Medical Supply, by the way.
Yeah, oh my God.
Both of them had gotten sprayed in the face with the toxin from the zombie barrel.
Yeah.
Anyway, they're dead, like halfway through the movie, but they're still like, not zombies yet, but they're like, don't have a pulse and stuff.
I don't feel nothing, like, where's my heartbeat?
Yeah,
They're like super pale and.
Like, so, it just, the layers of that movie and the time period, I just thought it was, that's my favorite zombie movie.
You know what my favorite trope is zombies movies?
What's that?
And I always felt like this is what makes a zombie movie to me.
Okay.
Is you get the one where everything's quiet, or you're kind of moving away from the horde, and open the door, another horde. Grabbed, and then you get that wonderful scene where they tear the guy in half. You know, they're eating
they're just like ripping into shreds.
Yeah, they're like in Day of the Dead. You do the choke on it while they're pulling out his intestines and eating with the ribs.
Yeah.
Choke
That's a great.
That
one has when he gets split in half in that hallway, and then it has the most hyper realistic sound, like head explosion at the beginning.
Yeah, that one did.
The apartment, wow, and it's like, oh,
well, it's because they took a head and they blasted with an actual shotgun.
Yeah, it was amazing.
That's how they did that one.
Oh, hey, man. Doing the podcast, so.
Sick. Well, we'll fix this later. No, we won't.
Yeah.
We're not going to fix this.
That's the wonderful ways of all the wonderful beginnings of a janky podcast.
Hey, man, got somewhere.
So that zombie movie, what do you think?
I mean,
What do you got?
so like I said, that's what really gets me. Is that's when you had your makeup effects guys. You got to let them loose.
Yeah.
'Cause that was the one thing about that was unfortunate about the horror movie genre. Is you had makeup guys who are doing their best to make these things just guttural and horrifying. You got your horrible body terror as you're being parted or cut into and all that.
You want
But
falling eyes
yeah,
and shit.
but they're getting censored. The MPA was just jumping hard on horror movies.
Right.
I mean, Jason got neutered so much because of that. And then you got uncut versions later on, and they got better.
Oh, yeah,
same thing
definitely.
happened with Freddy. Anybody that was a major horror movie, it got gutted.
Yeah.
And it was just unfortunate. But then the zombie movie came out, and you were just like, oh, this is fine. They're dead bodies, so let's.
It's okay.
Exploding, arms getting torn off.
So
in
it's
pieces.
so great that you mentioned that too. Is about basically them censoring the movies. I can't remember which movie it is, but it's Jason, and when he has the girl in the sleeping bag and he slams
Jason
her against
X.
the tree.
Yeah.
So
Jason X is the
yeah.
movie
Jason
that-
X plays an homage.
Yeah,
that happened to a previous
It happened
movie.
in.
was it? Oh, okay,
so
so-
the original scene was he picked up a girl in a sleeping bag and
Yeah.
slammed her against a tree 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
And they decided that was too gory, so they changed it to where he just murks her one time against the tree and she's dead.
That's it.
So that's Jason X?
No, that's not.
No.
So Jason.
That was original, but
Yeah.
Jason X plays an homage to it because
It
they're
did,
doing the self-aware thing where it's the two, the
okay.
virtual girls. It's
Yeah.
And they plan hey, we
you
like
wanna,
doing.
You want to smoke some pot?
Pot and do
Or-
premarital sex,
You
yeah.
have premarital sex. Then you
'Cause they're
have
teenagers.
The wonderful sex trope of straight nudity.
Yeah.
Cuts away, comes back, and he's got one in a sleeping bag,
Gotcha.
and the other one's he's
Just
wailing on the sleeping bag.
swinging
with the other
boom,
one.
boom.
I think he's Uber Jason at this point.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious.
Because Jason X, I was going to say, because it's pretty fun, because that's one of the best, the nitro.
Yes, I
Yeah.
was just about to
freeze your
say
face,
that.
Yeah.
smash your face.
One of the best Jason kills
Which makes me
It's
mad
so
because
cheesy.
She was my favorite character movie.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, she's the hot chick. I like her. And then what happens? Face freeze.
Yeah.
And just bash it.
And then they
boom.
myth-busted that one. That was one of the things they myth-busted.
Oh, yeah.
They got proven that it can't
Well,
be done.
this kind of segues into the next.
Yeah.
The next category is slasher. What's your favorite slasher?
Oh,
What's your favorite slasher movie?
Oh god, already hands down.
Slash.
Hands down for me, always will be Halloween, no matter
Halloween,
what.
so you're a Michael Myers.
I'm a
fan.
Michael Myers
All
fan.
right.
He's a simple
Team
man.
Michael Myers, all right. You
Yeah.
have a favorite Halloween.
Ooh, see, now you can put a position I want to
Season
be in.
Witch.
No, that's your favorite movie.
Hey man.
That's your favorite movie. Does not even count. Thank you, because we're not. I'm about to go on a tangent about that movie. That'll be for another time if you want to hear me rant about it. But honestly, it sounds cliche like everybody else, but it'd have to be the first one because that's what opened the door for Michael.
Babysitter Murders. Hello?
Yeah, it was just the beginning, the first how you saw him come to be. Why? Not really why he's doing what he's doing, but it was just you see how he developed. You see what he's doing, and to me, he's a simple guy. He's just he knows what he's looking for. He's gonna try to kill her, and that's it. You don't need no special fog mist, sleek in here, no nightmares, nothing. Just a kitchen knife and a mask. That's all you need. That's all it takes.
He's pure evil.
Literally
Blackest
evil.
eyes.
Well, see, I
Evil
can
incarnate.
agree with that because you got with Freddy, he's a dream demon.
Yeah.
He goes into your dreams.
It's not a juice demon. Not like Beetlejuice. It's a dream demon.
Beetlejuice.
And then you got Jason, who's a deformed child who his mom did a lot of killing. Spoilers for
Mama's Boy.
The spoiler.
If you haven't watched this by now,
Yeah.
folks,
Right.
tuning into the horror movie podcast, you have no idea about
And
Jason.
then I think it's what the sixth one. He becomes a zombie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it the 6th one? Okay, so
Kinda, yeah.
are we assuming that Jason turns into a zombie after he's in the corpse? He's a corpse in a
Spaceship?
No. I mean, he's obviously a zombie at that point, but there's a
we're
point
gonna
where he's like
describe
dead in
that.
a cemetery, and he gets struck by lightning, and then he comes back. So at that point,
the-
is he
Every
in-
time he come back, 'cause he wanted to make sure he was dead, so he goes to dig up the body to pour gasoline on it, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna stab him with this metal pole," and start stabbing him, and then
They leave it in
so
there.
that's Jason X, or not Jason X. Jason Goes to Manhattan.
Yeah.
So
No, was it Manhattan?
No, that was because they renamed Camp Crystal Lake to Camp Forest Green, I think.
I thought it was Jason Goes to Manhattan, where he gets stabbed and then electrocuted, and now he has to go to Manhattan.
Well, no, because he was already. I think Jason Manhattan happened after this one. I got to look at my timelines again. But because remember, he gets hooked up onto that boat,
Yeah.
and he gets taken to Manhattan, and then next thing you know, it's Jason partying down in Manhattan.
Wasn't it? For some reason, I keep thinking it was Jason Goes to Hell. That was the one he got struck by.
That's the third one, isn't
That's
it?
the third one.
Maybe.
Jason Goes to Hell.
I mean, I forgot the timeline and everything.
It's been a good minute.
There's 12 of those movies. So
I know.
have to
Yeah,
remember
they're
timelines
like-
of 12
They have
movie
all
series.
bled together at this point. I
Right.
just know that my favorite. So Jason Goes to Manhattan. It's high up there as far as like my favorite Jason-esque movies. And the thing that saves that whole like Jason genre for me is there's something like visceral about the boxing match that goes on the roof of the building with Jason Goes to Manhattan.
Oh, yeah.
where
Punches his head
Jason.
off.
I mean,
He literally just boom.
So I mean, like this dude's like boxing. He's going as hard as he can. I mean, he's throwing his punch as hard as he can. He's like, "All right, your turn," and he just gets like one shotted. Head pops off. Done.
This also happens in Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Yeah. The guy was joking, like, "What, you knock my block off?" Boom. And
Shorty does one shot him.
yeah, you see, it was in the trash can, wasn't
It
it?
lands a trash can, so he Kobe's that shit right in there too. It's just amazing.
This just made me laugh at being, "You gonna knock my block off?" Like,
So
you know.
So we're saying Friday the 13th is your slasher's Jason.
Man, so
You can have two different ones.
I know. Well, the thing about like my favorite slasher movie is like it's hard for me to pin down exactly. Like slasher is like that's a large category of like slasher films, but it's a hard. It's basically a hard choice between like the original Scream movie because I resonate with that movie so much and I love
Scream
how
is
it's
a good
like
one. That's a classic.
like you know calling them on the phone and they're like self-aware. That's great.
That became great. That's
Yeah.
what that was played into.
So
Yeah.
I love Scream, but I also love the Rob Zombie, whatever Jason Voorhees movie, whatever it's called. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Michael
he did
Myers.
the Halloween.
Yeah. I get all those. I watched all those movies like back to back, so they're so muddled in my head. But the
Right.
Rob Zombie horror movies with Michael Myers, the first one,
Yeah.
that one and Scream are really close to me as far as like best slasher.
That works. Yeah,
movies.
that's good.
and like I said, it was
But your favorite slasher movie was Jason Goes to Manhattan.
It's up there, man.
That's like so.
It's way up
would you say it's
there.
like the top two, maybe between those two? Would you say your
And the great thing
favorites at
about
least?
this is the rules are flexible.
Yeah.
This is not
All right,
a great
look.
movie where the rules are.
Like, it has to
All right,
be
look.
this. I was
This
like,
is the sequel, so all the shit.
Okay, look, so
whatever you want,
definitively top three, and none of these better than the other. I'm like top three, and they're all sharing a spot. You
Okay.
have Scream, Jason Goes to Manhattan, and the Rob Zombie Michael Myers movie.
Okay.
yeah, okay, I'll agree. I can work with that.
Halloween. All right, I like that.
you know,
That
like,
movie gets shit on a lot, by the way.
I love
I
Rob
like
Zombie's
them too. I
Halloween.
have no problem.
well, see, I've always liked Rob Zombie in general.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
He goes, doing, White Zombie and all that there.
Yeah.
And all that. Then he goes and makes El Super Beasto.
Amazing.
Great,
Great
I love
movie.
That.
That
Yeah,
was-
there's a lot of funny jokes in that.
Yeah.
He always puts his wife in everything. 'Cause
He
also
does.
Did the Firefly.
Sherry Moon Zombie, yeah.
Because he did the Firefly
Yep.
Yep.
saga too.
Yeah.
With Three from Hell and all that. But the reason I always found Halloween is because, like I said, everybody else, it's a supernatural force.
So yours is Halloween.
Well, because it's the one that got to me most because it's like he's human.
He's a person,
Well,
literally.
He's a person. He can take a lot of damage. He's a person, but he's just pure fucking evil.
Right?
Yeah,
Okay.
literally, that's all it is. Evil incarnate.
So
He gets
so
away
you're
from death.
Michael Myers Halloween. Okay, good.
Because
Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah.
he tries to get away from damage.
Uh-huh.
He catches you off guard because you don't expect somebody that big to move and disappear all of a sudden that
Sure,
quickly
sure.
on that there. And he's light on his feet, but it's just the fact
Very
that
light on his feet, you know.
he's
Very light on
big,
his feet.
scary dude who's a guy. Because when kind of going into we'll talk about Halloween Kills a bit right now is because
Yeah.
he's got the cop in that headlock And the other one, trying to take aim on it. But
this one we would have to say spoiler alert.
This one definitely.
This is super early. This is so.
Yeah.
So
This movie just came out.
I will
Yeah.
say I've never seen Halloween Kills. It's on my
Well, it just
list.
came out.
I know.
Yeah, it just, like last
yeah,
week.
yeah. I'm fully aware of that.
You're okay for her not seeing this.
Yeah. So I've never seen Halloween Kills. The only thing I know about this movie is a 4-second clip where there's a chick with a gun behind a door, and she's ready to shoot him through the door.
Yes.
And he slams the door into her, and
Yes.
she blows
It's
her
a
own
laugh
brains
out
out.
loud moment in the
Yeah.
That
Like,
was
we were like,
indeed-
whoa! It was awesome.
And
that
that's
scene-
what
oh
drives
my
me
God.
crazy-
Triple spoiler alert.
What drives me crazy
Right.
about that portion right there.
Oh my
is
God.
When you start, because some of y'all might know.
Some ranting.
I'm
Let's
a
go.
gun nut. And I love
He's a very
guns.
big gun nut.
And then when you start bringing guns movies, I will sit there and I will count shells.
Okay.
And I will sit there, I was like, and they start calling things the wrong thing. It's like, no, that's not what it is.
Never watch Commando because I don't think you
But see, I could take my brain out and
just
I
watch
can
the
watch
movie?
action movies all day.
Okay.
And we'll have an action movie podcast one day, and you're going to hear just me have
Oh,
a
God.
wonderful, wet dream, little moment of enjoying action movies. But no, so I was like, you give the guy who knows nothing about guns the big fucking Desert Eagle.
The Deagle, I'm like,
his
what
wife
the-
takes the gun, and then next thing the scene after is when
Yeah.
he kicks the window, boom.
Because that's what made me laugh. Because she has the gun. And he's like, give me that gun. I know, I've shot one before. Okay, you shot one before. Then why the hell you got?
Why you dead?
Exactly.
You did.
I think that scene is without saying anything about that movie. I've seen that scene.
It just makes me laugh.
And the only reason I can think that that's realistic scenario is because I've seen videos of people who have shot overpowered handguns and
Yeah.
not been
Deck
equipped to
themselves
it.
in the face.
And
Yeah.
not only that, but I've seen videos where the recoil is so immense that when the initial shot happens, they panic and they squeeze a second bullet off,
And then
while it shoots it straight up behind them. So
Yeah.
it seems like if you're in a panic situation and you get a door kicked into you by Michael Myers, I feel like that might be some way you go down.
Okay, I'll give you that. That's fair.
In that scene, it was just there was another death right there before it.
Yeah.
It was amazing too. So it was like back to back.
It really
cracking
was.
deaths on you, and it was Michael Myers.
Oh, yeah.
And this is something for the comment section. I need someone that doesn't have anything but time on their hand.
Yeah.
To go back and see how many bullets that Michael Myers has absorbed.
Yeah, count how many rounds he has
I am
taken.
telling you, he ain't getting close to a metal detector.
Oh,
no.
It's rattling off
No.
from like 60 yards away.
Well, not only bullets, I'm sure there's a knife blade stuck in there somewhere.
So,
Like a
so
chip in
now,
some, probably.
the perfect way to take down Michael Myers is just a high-powered magnet, right? Like, we could just turn a magnet. It's just going to literally slam him against
So
any
what you're
stuff.
doing-
Well, you gotta make sure it's like
What you're
it's
telling
healed
me is-
over him because like if
Well,
you get the magnet, it's just gonna pull
It's
him right
gonna pull them all
out. It's just
out.
gonna pull him like
I'm
out.
pretty sure he's absorbing it.
what
You
you're
think he's
telling
gonna
me
soak it into himself?
He's like Wolverine. They're just like coating his bones.
I've never seen somebody shoot Michael Myers and have any kind of collateral damage behind him. He's definitely sucking them bullets in.
Yeah, he's
oh,
eating.
they don't.
You
Yeah,
can't-
they're not.
there's no
like,
exit
it's
wound.
There's no exit wounds.
You
They're
could-
all absorbed.
You could shoot him with a Beowulf and it still wouldn't get through him.
Well, if bullets were more magnetic, I think the best way you can probably end the Hallway series is lure him to the hospital, stand by the MRI machine, and like,
Oh god, just
yeah?
turn it on.
Well, guess what? The doctor's in. Boom.
Yeah.
Look at
Okay, you
that.
gotta give him a one liner.
Yeah. The How to Kill Michael Myers podcast.
We got a whole hour for just.
We got a whiteboard for this, but I will admit, speaking of the one-liners, like that reminds me of, like the old school cheesy, like the really terrible lines that you get in the old movies.
Okay. So this is actually a segue and to stay on topic with
Yeah.
my favorite slasher that has not been mentioned,
Ooh,
which
I'm
is
listening.
Freddy Krueger and the Nightmare on Elm Street series.
With a very young Johnny Depp in the beginning.
The
Very
this is
Yes.
Johnny. We'll talk about Johnny Depp and the blood volcano.
Oh god.
That nearly killed people, by the way.
That's what I did.
My favorite. He's my favorite slasher, and to me, it's not even close because the ones that we mentioned before have no dialogue. Like, it's completely dependent upon B characters to carry the movie for these characters, whereas Freddy can carry this movie now, especially by the third one.
Yeah.
He can carry this movie all by himself.
Is that Dream Warriors?
The third one's Dream Warriors,
Okay,
and that
yeah.
is my favorite slasher movie.
Dream Warriors
now,
is good.
But again, I have to agree with my brother here on Scream being head-to-head with this movie.
Right.
But for two different reasons, right? So because Scream itself, where all the reasons he
Yeah.
mentioned, and it is the most entertaining to watch from front to back.
Right.
Whereas if we're going to call it a slasher movie, I love the setting of basically an insane asylum for children, because that's basically right. We got these kids there, and they all have the same psychosis of they're dreaming of a killer, and it's all the same killer.
And the character's name is John Doe.
Yeah. And it's so
literally.
I love that. I love it. It furthers the Freddy mythology with, he's the son of 1,000 bastards because his mom was a nun that got locked up in an insane asylum and they all raped her.
Yeah.
And this is where he came from,
Yeah.
I love that. I thought that was great. And plus, this is when he really gets into his own with the one-liners that you mentioned, Ron.
Yeah.
With the, he picks the girl up that wants to be a movie star, right?
Yeah.
And she's the one that's a cigarette burning herself to stay awake while she's watching TV.
Yeah.
And the TV comes alive and it's Freddy, and he picks her like 5 feet up off the ground and slams her.
Is this the scene where the arms,
Yes.
like the arms
Yeah.
come out of the
Come
TV?
out of the TV,
Okay,
and his
yeah.
head comes out of the top and he's got TV antennas.
Yeah.
The rabbit ears, yeah.
Prime time, bitch.
Yeah.
Prime time, bitch, and slams her head in
It's
there.
boom.
And then, Lawrence Fishburne's in this movie.
I honestly forgot he was.
Room,
Yeah.
And he sees her 3 or 4 feet off the ground with her head jammed into a TV.
Yeah.
Like the impossible, like she jumped like Jordan and slammed her head into a TV.
Yeah, she really did.
And I guess there's nothing supernatural about that at all.
Totally not. She just threw herself in the TV. She
Look,
just
so
jumped.
I'll be like on the opposite end of the spectrum. I've seen all the like Friday the 13th movies, including the remakes, and I cannot get behind the idea of like the Freddy character.
So you're not going to
Oh yeah, whatever. They're so muddled together at this point. But
Who has the glove? Who has the giant machete?
I can't remember. So the guy with the glove, for further clarification. So I watched all the Jason movies and the Freddy movies like literally back to back. And as far as the Freddy movies are concerned, is he kind of goes from like a hardcore horror movie icon, and then he goes to this one-liney, witty, kind of like almost comedical like horror movie. And I see the appeal to that, but when I go into a horror movie, I just like I can't get behind his character.
Sure.
In the old, that's why I really like the remake, where he's more of like this visceral, gross, just fucking terrible, awful fucking person.
An actual child rape.
Yeah.
That's why I hated the remake.
And it was super inferred in the original movies, but then they just like they just sent it on home.
Well,
It was subtle.
so in the original ones, as a kid watching them in the 80s and being the elder statesman here at this point, being an old guy.
Nah,
When
I'm not
I
old.
watched him, I got the feeling that he was a child killer. And especially of teenagers. It didn't really like go into him killing actual little children.
Yeah, I was under the same impression
especially
too.
not raping them, which is
I would have never thought of that.
I built a movie to escape the world.
exactly.
When I think about it, and plus I liked rooting for the bad guy. That was half the fun of rooting for Jason, because he's killing the sinful teenagers in the camp, and rooting for obviously rooting for Michael Myers. Because, you got a whole bunch of these unlikable.
you got
teenage
these
babysitters making out when they should be watching the kids, and
And
he's
then-
punishing them, right?
Exactly.
And
You're like, you should have taken care of me. Now look what happened.
That's why I liked Freddy, because again, he's punishing teenagers for sex, which was the whole point of these.
That's the whole
slasher
premise,
movies.
yeah.
And when he got the one-linerisms, when he became a comedian along the way, I liked that too. So I liked that.
So
but-
I totally see the appeal of Freddy, but as far as like if I'm gonna go in to watch a horror movie, Freddy is not the horror movie villain that I'm like want to watch.
Like, so you want to be scared.
So what I understand is you want to see people getting stabbed, not seeing somebody killing people with a Nintendo Power Glove.
Yeah. And he's only getting a high
I
score.
love everything you just said.
I remember that scene. Like it was yesterday. The whole like like the top score, bitch. Like
I love the face of the little smiling guy with his little Nintendo controller.
he's just the whole thing.
Yeah, I will say on a remake, on the remake, the one scene was amazing in that is when she's falling in and out of sleep while she's in the supermarket.
Oh, she's like
and
micro
Freddy is
sleeping.
in and out of the
frame?
lane.
Yeah.
Because she's going to sleep and not,
See, and that's the thing.
that was really cool.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
thing I really liked about the remake is because it brought this idea of like micro sleeping.
Which is an actual thing.
Yeah. So that kind of brought like some realism to it, and he was like,
micro sleep.
yeah.
That's terrible. He's probably shouldn't
And that's
do that.
like
Drink and drive, so I don't even hear it.
Hey man.
that's
We're
where
talking.
I mean,
That's why I
I
drive.
see Roger say, "So it's a podcast. You're lucky."
That shut me up.
yeah. So it's just like because I've seen all of them, and Dream Warriors is like I don't connect with that movie at all. Like I feel like it's the quirk factor is way too high as far as being like we're in a dream now we have superpowers, and I'm like I just can't get behind that at all.
Punishes them all.
Terrible.
Like so it's like
remember when his fingers turn into syringes? And
Yeah.
then he kills Tara.
That made
I
her.
think she's a badass, and he does.
That made
her
her-
little mouths on her arm.
Little mouth, yeah, the little drug.
so I will.
weird.
I mean I'm
They
not.
made an awesome drug shirt, by the way.
Yeah, there was a really cool
So I'm not going to say that it's like, oh, nothing about that movie is great. But I don't really connect to that movie. But I think one of the scenes that sticks out to that movie is it's the guy who's got the hearing aids or deaf.
No, that's the next one.
What is it? Oh, is that the next one?
There's a new Nightmare,
now,
right?
I will say, Jody is mute, and the nurse comes in and uses her tongue to like tie him to a bed.
No, I'm talking about the scene where it's like they put
That's the next one.
so where
That's
Freddy
the
puts
hearing aid kid.
yeah
That's in
Freddy puts
part
the
four.
Was it
Freddy
New
puts
Nightmare,
the hearing aids in him, and then he like cranks it up to a billion, so he like drops a pin and it like makes the guy go fucking insane because
Oh, yeah.
He
it
runs to
is.
jump and he catches it, but then he jumps like a whole like 10 times.
Yeah, so that scene really sticks out to me as far as that whole
is it dropping
series.
the pins?
Yeah,
yeah.
The little sewing pins.
But other than that, it's like I like the scene where he's in the alleyway and he's like doing that crazy like arm run.
No,
you
that's
know,
the first one.
I know that's the first
And
one.
that one, it's true. The
Yeah.
first one was more like a horror movie.
And I like
Yeah.
the first one. I mean, as far as like measurably, I feel like the first one is way more watchable than Dream Warriors because like I can't get into Dream Warriors at all.
Well,
I love the first.
I will say this.
Fair enough, fair
'cause,
enough.
You know, there's all these talks about representation in movies,
Yeah.
and I think that's the one thing nobody really talks about is that Freddy 2 is like the gayest horror movie ever.
Oh, it is. It
No,
totally is.
you have a male scream queen, and the guy was actually gay. He hadn't come out at the time, which was really hard for him.
Oh, yeah,
But
that's
he's doing
right.
all these wonderful things that are just like makes him just flamboyant in a sense.
I will tell you, just touching on that,
Little trivia?
the new Chucky TV series, the main kid's gay.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah. There's actually a pretty awesome line where and I don't know if this was just a meme someone made up. I haven't got to that episode. I watched the first episode, it was really good. But the second episode, maybe, I think it's the second episode, it's like, he's like something like to Chucky, like, you don't care that I'm gay. And Chucky's like, I'm not a monster.
yeah. So he's like,
Yes, actually.
yeah. So he's
Okay,
like,
that's actually pretty good.
so he's like, I got a non-binary kid. I'm not a monster.
Yeah.
And that's also a seed of Chucky, which we can get into the Chucky movies later.
That's
but I
right.
love,
Yeah, that's,
I fucking love the Chucky movies.
Glenn and Glenda.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Glenn and Glenda.
So anyway, but Freddy,
Right.
the last note on slasher, Freddy Krueger is easily my favorite just because you get it all. You get comedy, you get
Murder.
any kind of murder, and it's all really creative deaths. because
Yeah, that's what I like
he's
about
picking
it.
out the kid's issue, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's what a bully would do. Like he's gonna pick on the one thing, like
Like their
you're
biggest
dead,
insecurity.
I'm gonna kill you with your ears somehow.
It's like
Or, you're
insecurity,
like, oh,
whatever,
you're in a
physical.
wheelchair, huh? All right, well I'm gonna.
I was
Whoop.
the Freddy cartoony kill where he's pushing the spikes into the road, just Wile E. Coyote.
Oh, everything's very
Yeah.
cartoon-like
Oh,
in these
yeah.
movies, and I really like.
But you
that.
know what? When I was little, that movie still terrified me.
The
Oh, yeah.
first one is still scary, you know.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, nothing's really scary to me now, but you know, if
It'll still give you kind of
stop
like.
and think about it, it's a scary concept that you can't go to sleep or you might die.
Yeah.
and that's a really pretty cool concept. I mean, it works for any horror movie, right? You know, you wake
Well-
up, the boogeyman could be right there.
So my like final notes on the as far as the Freddy killing thing is a lot of people have this idea where it's like if you're scared you just go to sleep and you like sleep through it, and Freddy really literally put fucking knives
Yeah.
in that trope. Like
Yeah,
you're not
he's-
even safe if you try and sleep through it.
There's nowhere you can go,
So
nowhere you
what
can run.
The shark in Jaws did for the ocean, Freddy did for you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
exactly.
Oh my
I
God,
already didn't want to go to sleep. Now I really don't want to.
it's cool. This is. I don't need sleep.
And that moves me on to the next thing on that thing, because you have a lot of these movies that are just super open on all these wonderfully bloody, gory kills.
Yeah.
But then, can you make a movie without it? And somebody once asked that when I was looking over into
Can you make a movie without the gore?
without as much gore and killing. And I was like, you most definitely can. They call it the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You don't see much gore and death in that movie.
Yeah, well, that's
It
true,
is
you
just
don't.
terrifying that you're being chased by a dude with a chainsaw.
And like a leather
The first
face.
Halloween has no gore.
Exactly.
No,
Yeah,
it
There's
doesn't.
on right now the movies that made us on Netflix. If you watch that, they actually do a lot of the
Yeah.
scary movies.
Yeah.
They talk about how in Halloween there's literally no blood in it.
Hardly. Like, the only close thing you get to blood is maybe a stab here and, like, a little, maybe a pull.
You show that.
Really?
It's crazy. Go back and watch it.
Okay, I need to rewatch it then,
There's
because
no blood in this movie.
I'm definitely going to go home and rewatch it now, because I'm like, I could have sworn I saw maybe a bloody knife
There
or
might be, but it's pretty
It's like-
dark. And
You really got
it's
to look
kinda
at this
cool,
one.
actually, that they don't even use blood.
No,
yeah.
that's the way how it goes. Is just that you can make a horror movie without being overly gory, but just by playing on the whole idea of the crazy backwoods family.
Sure.
This guy's you didn't get much. Well, it's kind of hard because Texas Chainsaw has this really weird timeline where it splits off 8 different ways. There's
And it does get gory.
It does,
yeah. Eventually, it
You get
does.
a 3D version of it. For Pete's sake,
Yeah, I was like, that was nasty.
No,
That
the
didn't feel
very
too
first
good.
one, it's not as bloody and gory, but it was still considered one of the most terrifying horror movies.
Oh, yeah.
And then what also helps,
The remakes of that was pretty damn good.
No, definitely. Because one thing I do like about horror movies is, like, touch on that topic, for me, what makes a horror movie is, it's when I saw this phrase online, it was a post, it's like, you're not afraid of the dark because you're alone. Like, you're afraid of the dark because you're afraid not being alone in the dark. And you don't know what's in the dark besides yourself, and if you hear things and you don't know where it's coming from, that's already gonna, like, for me, that's already putting up my scare factor, like, already tenfold. Like, I'm by myself.
That's probably why you lean toward the Halloween series, because
Yeah,
Michael is so quiet and
He's
just
very
standing in the dark.
because that's what I like about them. Because you think, like, okay, I'm by myself. It's a dark house. It's cold. Everything's locked. Yeah, it's dark, but are you sure you're alone in this dark house? That's what I like about it. And playing with the sounds.
Captain Kirkman scared me too.
Yes, Captain Kirk mask.
Hey man, the first time I saw
I
that
think
one.
William Shatner just found out.
Yeah, he recently found out it was
his mask since the 70s.
Yeah, it was like at the time. Yeah, a side note trivia. I saw the article. He was like, when they first asked me, I thought it was a joke. I didn't really believe it. And then of course now the interview's like, I'm surprised they kept this thing long running since the 70s.
Yeah.
He was very shocked about it. Like, okay, I don't know. I didn't really
He's too
finish.
busy going into space.
Right.
For anyone that doesn't know, the Michael Myers mask is based on a Star Trek Captain Kirk mask from the 70s.
Did they even paint it?
They did.
They
Yeah,
did.
Why?
Painted
I
it.
think they dyed the hair.
they dyed the hair
Dyed the hair,
darker brown,
painted it white, and I think they cut the eyes out.
a little bit bigger. They made the eyes a little
They took
wider.
the eyebrows off.
Yeah, they got rid of the
Which is
eyebrows.
funny, like some of the sequels, they didn't do that. And all of a sudden, Michael Myers' eyebrows
Bushy.
on his mask. So,
Very bushy eyebrows. I'm like,
Why? In the he's like,
yeah.
Anyway, so
He's very
that's
surprised.
that's what they're talking about.
Wait,
Captain Kirk, William Shatner. But
Right.
a nice segue. We'll get off categorical for just a moment.
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned, the gore in horror movies, and so let's talk about, when do we know a horror movie means business?
Ooh.
Like, when you
Yeah.
turn on a horror movie, you're going to get some tropes and some things like that. It's just a very common thing you see in a horror movie. But all of a sudden, they're going to do something in this horror movie, and you're going to go, okay, now I know I'm in for
Okay.
something.
The gloves are coming off.
The gloves
All right.
are coming off. This is a horror movie.
So-
I mean business here. We're going to see some shit.
So
Yeah.
I just want to open this up. I want to set the bar
Yeah.
really fucking high.
Okay.
We're gonna talk about the Blob.
Yes.
Oh, God.
So the
Please,
80s
yeah.
Blob.
That one
Tate, me
always.
and Tate have had these conversations before, so we're going to be
Oh,
very
God.
on the
So
same
look,
ticket here.
That
we're
one's
gonna set the
still-
bar so high. When I know a horror movie is business is when I watch the Blob and they straight up just destroy and kill a child.
Yeah, if you
Yeah.
kill a kid in a horror movie, you're willing to do just about anything. So
I just
this
remember
is-
the blanket blob, like, ugh.
Yeah.
That still
So
gets me to this day. I cannot
he's
watch that movie.
absolutely right. They kill a kid, not immediately, but pretty close.
You see,
Killing
maybe
a
like-
teenager is a trope.
Yeah.
Killing a kid is absolutely not acceptable.
You have never thought of that. Like, no
So-
one would
Yeah.
think twice to do that, such a
So
thing.
I'll set the scene here. The little brother and his friend have snuck off to a horror movie. The heroine in this movie, she's gone to save her little brother at the movie theater, and they've made their way into the sewer as the Blob is chasing them. And the Blob grabs this kid, and you think, there's no way this kid's going to get away.
Yeah.
And the brother almost died. And they pre-set it up. Again, a perfect movie thing is when you set something up early. So they set up early with the mom and is zipping up the kid's jacket, and the zipper doesn't quite go up. Well, this happens when the kid's stuck in the door with his jacket, and he can't quite get it off his zipper. So they've
Yeah.
already, set you up for this. But later on, The blob straight up snatches this kid, and he goes underwater. And when he comes up, he's half melted. Like
his face is gone.
And he's screaming with the blob, like pulling
totally.
his skin off. Of him.
He's pulling
and
a
like,
limb.
okay, anyone can die in this movie.
Yeah, nobody is safe. Nobody's safe.
No one.
You don't kill a kid that means business.
And you know who else did that? And I got a kick out of the idea on it. And it was like, you don't expect that. It was a quiet place.
Yeah.
Because that's what kicks off the whole. That's what gives you the setup to how they do
Yeah. It's at the very beginning too.
Now they push it up because they don't really show.
They don't show you much, but you do get that.
Dead.
You get that.
That quick.
No, but you get that really great sweep of the monster just catching this kid.
Right.
Swipes
You
across
know
the
that
face.
this thing is first thing. This monster's moving.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then,
Fast.
and then once you later in the movie, you see just how sharp and messed up his hand is. It's like he starts moving.
Yeah.
That kid got bisected.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's gone, like dead,
What's another
dead.
movie where they kill a kid?
It, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the easy answer.
Well, I feel like I agree with you. That's very easy. That's kind of one of the go-tos.
Now the first It, obviously being a TV series.
So the Tim Curry version. The
They
Tim
didn't
Curry
show it.
version.
Tim
But
Curry
the remake
always.
in 2017, Georgie gets jacked right there on the street.
Yeah.
Loses his arm,
Yeah.
he's crawling away, crying. So that's a great example.
That is a great scene. So he's had his arm cut off, right? And he's like crawling away with like blood trailing behind him, and then you see Pennywise's arm like coming out of the sewer, right? That's what snatches him. Yeah, that.
Rough.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
yeah.
draw
That's
that
rough.
out. Yeah, they draw that out good.
Any other kids die in these movies? I'm trying to think. I just can't think off the top of my head.
What I like about that, speaking of why everybody kind of thinks on that, there is what's the name who does it in the remakes. He was
Skarsgård.
Yeah, Skarsgård.
So I like the fact that he knew he was going to be playing with kids. He knew he's playing one of the scariest things for a lot of kids, which is clowns.
Yeah.
But after he did a scene, he checked on the kid. He was like, "Are you okay?"
Like, is everything okay?
that's cool.
Yeah.
He was super good with kids. That's why they all got along real well. That's why all these kids are not all traumatized and crazy.
Very cool.
But I will say this much: another little side trivia. So you know how in the lore for it, Pennywise comes out every X amount of years.
Would you
Like,
talk about the orgy?
27 years?
is it 20? Yeah, I want to say it's every 27
I
years.
know. These weird annual event, like, what's another one? Jeepers Creepers. He comes
Yeah.
like every 17 years.
It's on my list too.
Oh, is it?
And so-
Yeah.
but here's the thing that made me laugh because when I saw a Tim Curry version of that one, it's like every 20 years Pennywise comes out, and then the new one with Skarsgård came out. I was like, someone pointed this out, like, how long ago did Tim Curry come out? And then this one,
Yeah.
it was 27 years.
Yeah,
I was
it
like,
was 27
I've been like, for me, I'm like, this had to, like, someone had to have planned this. Like, there was no way this is coincidental.
It's actually the settings are like that too.
Yeah.
Because the first one was like in the 60s or whatever, and then obviously it was in the 80s. And
Yeah.
this one was set in the 80s, and then it was
Moved over to
the So they actually kept that timeline. Which is really kind of cool. Talking about the timeline. All right, so mean business. How about you, Roger? When do you know a horror movie means business?
Honestly, like every other teenage boy, every kid, when you see some titties popping out, like when you see a titty pop out,
This is on my list too, because they're not gonna, if they're gonna show a woman topless, they're not gonna hold back on the gore.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Exactly.
you're gonna see some gore.
you can see something at this
They've
point.
already got the R rating. The NBA's already set up the guidelines, and it's like, well, you've already got all this blood and everything else. Just pop a titty out there.
Yeah.
It's like you already got the R
And that's
rating
one of the
model.
biggest-
Just
that's a
if
big
you're gonna
horror movie trouble. That's what
Yeah.
kicks off Jason and Jason X is those two people, the student and having sex. She gives out the little PG-13 moment. Next thing you know, just boom. He Undertakers. He sits back up. He's like, oh, yep, the movie's gone. Here
That's
we go.
it, yeah.
So,
That's it.
talking about like titties and movie, is it Trick or Treat where there's just like a random tit scene like right when the movie starts?
Yeah, so we were trying to edit Trick or Treat last year and take.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
actually
Yeah.
Children have sex with the masks on and everything.
You know, well, they're about to. But they don't get to. But
that was
he
a weird
actually
scene.
just sees porn on the screen. So it's actually
It's like a
movie within the
VHS
movie.
tape, yeah.
Yeah, there's like porn on the screen in the movie. So the only other possible tip you might see is there's a werewolf transformation in that movie where the girls are like literally ripping their skin off and the werewolves are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A great werewolf transformation, by the way.
Almost as good as a werewolf in London or what is it?
Yeah, I was about to say
That's
American
a tough one.
Yeah.
How about a werewolf de-transformation in Fright Night is really good. Because he's a full wolf. He's not a werewolf, he's a wolf. And then he gets stabbed and gets turned back
They can do a
into
human?
And it's really cool looking.
Huh.
So it's
Isn't there a good werewolf transformation in the what's that movie called from the 2000s? It's got old
Twilight?
No, yeah.
Oh, okay, buddy. All right.
No, is it Underworld?
That's it. You're done.
Is it
Cut you off.
Underworld? Underworld's got the great
Underworld, that was
transformations, right? Because like,
lichens.
yeah,
The
'cause
lichens, yeah.
Underworld's got like the vampire werewolf hybrid in it, and it's got some good transformation things.
That was a
in it.
weird one for me. I was like, what the fuck?
I'll watch Underworld right now. I
We
don't care.
have to. Well, we were going to come back to the werewolf and all that. I have that on the list of and categorically it fits in. But we got to stick with horror movie meaning business. Nate, do you have anything? Because these two name my two, right? Like when a kid dies, when you got a topless woman. All of a sudden, they mean business because the topless woman thing goes directly with okay. There's some sin happening.
Yeah, it's
and
like
these
they're
people gotta die.
they're gonna have sex eventually, and when they do, here it comes.
In the comments, write a movie that you know of where somebody shows their breast and they don't die.
Oh, that's a tough one.
That is,
yeah.
I
In
would
the
love to see
comments,
that.
That's
somebody.
not a porno.
That's
Okay.
Wait, I got 1,000 of them. They're
Wait,
in my
wait,
house.
yeah,
Yeah, one guy. Oh, there goes my list.
Secondary
That's
comment.
right, horror movie.
Horror movie, horror, actual horror movie, not
the-
a horror porn.
Not a horror movie.
I mean a horror porno.
With a
Right?
W.
I mean, that was mine was saying was just a kid being cute because you don't see that.
Yeah.
They kill a cat. They mean business.
Yeah,
It's
oh, yeah.
it's a true mean
There's
business.
actually an old.
But mostly boobs.
Yeah, there's actually a
Right.
movie, yeah,
I mean-
there's an old horror movie. I can't remember exactly the name of it. I think it was called like The Birthday Trip or something like that. But it's an old B movie right there. But one of them was it was these three kids that were born during an eclipse, and when they get older, they're evil.
Oh, okay.
They're just sheer evil on that there.
The one Rosemary's
And,
Baby.
Pretty much, it feels like. But no, like you got this one. You got the little girl. She's considered. She's kind of like the more innocent-looking one that there. She looks like a little porcelain doll. She's a super cute little thing. And then you got the two boys. One's this dude that's wearing the super awesome '70s. He's got the big old glasses like aviator shades.
Oh, yeah.
He's wearing a set of those, and he pulls a gun on several guys. And then the third one is just this janky little kid who can't do jack shit. He keeps fucking up everything. But
Some
they
reason I
go,
keep
they go to
thinking-
play hide and seek in this junkyard,
Okay.
and they're playing it with this one kid who saw them kill one of the girl's dad, who's a cop, because he started finding out, these kids might be killing people. 'Cause they found the piece of a jump rope when they strangled this couple who was having sex in a graveyard.
Damn.
They having sex in a
Well
graveyard
deserved.
in an open grave.
Wait, were they
I'm rooting for
married?
the kids again. I'm rooting for the.
So,
We don't know if they were married or not.
And it's so B movie because it's the fact that they are. It's in a junkyard. They hide. The kid hides into a.
Wait, is it a junkyard or a graveyard?
A junkyard. No, the graveyard's where the teens died. Junkyard's where later on the kids are playing. So
Set the mood.
Keep
Set the tone.
clarifying.
he jumps. So they're playing hide and seek. He tells them to hide inside the refrigerator. And he goes, I don't want to hide in the refrigerator. So he pulls a gun on the kid. He goes, you're gonna hide in the refrigerator.
Okay.
So he goes, okay, he hides in the refrigerator, and then they lock it and leave, trying to kill him off on it there. But luckily, one of the adult characters comes and finds him. And then when she comes in, she trying to save him. One of the kids is in his old Oldsmobile, and he just throws in reverse and gasses it. He's trying to run these two over, and it's such a B movie that there's no stunt performers. There's no safety lines. It's actually these two people running from a car
Oh, God.
that's being reversed. And they dodge at the last second, and the Sandra heads to the car the entire time as it drives off a small, though, like 4-foot drop. But movies like that is like, goodness, you got kids trying to kill kids, and it's kind of really reaching out there. It's like, yeah, this might not be okay.
This is a no-no movie.
Nate's actually segueing into a perfect topic, and this one is called Movies That No One Has Seen. Because I have never heard or seen of that, but it is his horror movie, and it's in his mind and in his library. Roger, you have one you think that none of us have seen. It's
Okay.
a horror movie. obviously.
A horror movie. So this one's kind of a twofer. It's a horror / comedy zombie movie.
Okay.
So if you're gonna ask, what was your favorite comedy
You
movie?
say Shaun of the Dead. You are not.
No.
I think that's right.
Actually, we saw it a few days ago. But no, it was one of my bros showed me. My brother DK. I was at his house because they're very big horror nuts too, and I had never heard of it until that day. It's called Dead and Breakfast.
Okay. This sounds very B movie. Go right
It
ahead.
is terribly B movie, and the one thing I liked about this one is it actually reminded me of like when we were talking about earlier, like zombie movies. Like, you know how you were talking about Return of the Living Dead? They were talking. Yeah, these zombies here, they're actually fully sentient zombies. They're actually talking. There's the famous scene I will never forget.
Okay.
They are outside it's obviously a bed and breakfast, in the middle of buttfuck nowhere. They're just in a nice little area. These zombies coming out, they are square dancing. I wish I made this up.
Wow.
Legit square dancing, and there's a song they're singing called "We're Coming to Kill You," and it's like a folk kind of like, it sounds like a square dancing song. We're coming to kill you, and they're singing about literally they're gonna eat you. They're gonna after they're done eating your insides, they're gonna wear your skin for dessert. They're gonna wash your blood down with whiskey, this and that, whatever. And they're just talking. They're just singing about this, and it was like honestly. It's just one of those, I have to go back and rewatch it because I'm like, but that is a scene to this day that I will never forget. Dead and Breakfast.
Okay.
I honestly think no one else has heard of it. They have, but I don't know if any of y'all have here. If you have, hey man, I'm glad, more power to you. But so far, I'm the only one that knows about this.
So, what do you got, Glenn?
As far as like horror movies that nobody's heard of,
It doesn't mean nobody's
I mean,
it's
that
like
nobody's-
randomly saying.
look, the
You
only
would never think
I
you've seen
think I
it.
know what you should be saying, but go right ahead.
the only movie I can think of that nobody should be watching or nobody's seen
Okay.
is Troll 2.
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
They're eating her! And they're gonna eat me! Oh my god! Oh,
So-
Jesus. Yeah, I've
Future subject, one-liners in a horror movie.
Oh, Jesus. I
Oh
remember.
my god!
I really thought you were going to talk about Terrifier.
Man, well, I didn't want to go to that so soon because that's such an icon movie to me, and I didn't want to throw it in the movies nobody's seen before.
Because
Okay.
you're the
I
only
don't think
one.
enough people have seen
Let me
this.
interrupt right quick.
I feel like everybody's
that
seen
movie was
it.
called Bloody Birthday from 1981.
Bloody Birthday.
Good job. Bloody Birthday, Dead and Breakfast, and you're going with Troll 2.
Yeah.
Troll 2.
I honestly have never seen Troll 2.
Well, it's actually a cult classic. It's like
Of
a
course
very.
it is.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
hold
not
on,
very
wait,
well
wait,
known
wait.
that I know the words to.
Look, when you say cult classic, I feel like it's several steps below cult classic. It's,
Oh,
I would say it's a movie.
it's a movie.
A movie
So
on
the reason why I call it cult classic is like I've heard about that movie. There's like a lot of underground like that. Say there's like a shit ton of people have heard
Look.
of it, but they never talk about. It. I'm like, if you know what these
no
many
one's
people.
ever really seen this movie, and they've only seen that one part.
That's why I feel like they've
They
seen
don't
it. It's
know.
just
They
that
don't
scene.
Look, they turn people into like cytoplasm or something.
cytoplasmic goo
There's like
and
gnomes, and they turn people into like plant matter so they can eat it.
No, what I want to know is, do they show them turning
There's
into this
gnomes in the
goo?
movie Trolls.
Look, I know they're called trolls, but they look like gnomes.
They
Okay.
totally look like what I think a gnome should look
Like,
like.
I'm sitting there thinking, like, do they show them turning into this goo, or is it just like pan out, boom?
It's closed with goo in it. That's all you need to know, and they're
I know.
eating it.
I want
It's
to see
like
them.
Jello mold shit. It's what
I
it
just
is.
It's
wanna
worse
see
than Jello.
I just want to see the person melt in the goo and get disgusted with myself. Is that too much to ask?
You know the one thing, speaking of goo, and it's always
Speaking of
Speaking of goo, and I'm just
Jesus.
going to do a real quick kind of left field thing.
I gotta hear this.
One thing that always terrified me about anything that has to do with goo,
Okay.
it takes me back to the Blob, because that scene where there's that dude trying to flirt with the girl who's obviously passed out.
Genius.
Oh, my
Oh, yeah.
god, yeah.
Because the blob has actually becomes a sneaky bastard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And he's just like, it's really nice clothes, it's really soft. You must be hot in there. He does unbutton. He's like, did I feel better? Well, maybe do one more. And
Yeah.
then he goes in trying to be sneaky, and then
He
no,
gets a
it
straight
just,
eight, man.
Boom, sucks
It
him in.
has completely got inside of her and hid inside her body.
No holds
Yeah.
barred.
Why is this like non-sentient stalker move this thing? Though
Look.
I don't understand.
How is it?
fool
Like, how is this even
was
possible?
This dude was going for the finger blast in, and the blob knew what was up.
She was fully intact. How did it get inside her?
That's what I want to know.
Dun,
It's-
dun, dun.
What I want to know, for some crazy reason that I just don't want to answer me, is why does this Blob know about that base?
How's the town not know about this stalker kid that has a full bar in his trunk with a bucket full of class rings that he gives
Yeah.
out to girls?
Just shoot.
He had a bucket. Like,
Yeah.
it looked like...
You know he
when
bought
you
them by the
get
100
atomic
pack.
fireballs out of that, like, little fish tank
Yeah.
the convenience store. It was full of class rings. And, like, there was no online back then. So you had to go to a local engraver and say, listen, I'm going to need about 37 class rings.
Like, at least.
I'm going to give them out to every chick here. And I got to say, you're my girl on it or something cheesy.
He's gonna give him the same one lines. I don't say this to every girl I meet, but you're
Yeah.
special. Like, oh hell, dog.
You're
Don't.
wearing my ring. You're wearing my class ring, man. You're wearing my jacket.
Careful, you're going to give Roger ideas.
Yeah.
Oh hell no! I don't want to go that far. You know how much money it's gonna cost me? I can't afford that.
Yeah.
I'll disappoint me in real life.
Cheap
Like I do.
stalker. Gives her ring pops and stuff.
Hey, I can get a bag over here, at the
What?
grocery store, a ring pop for like $10.
Exactly.
I can get
As Roger gives out the local drug dealer's number.
What's up, man?
Over here.
Look, you want a ring pop? You know where to find me.
I love it. All right, so that's when horror movies mean business, and that is also when
Obscure
horror movies
movies.
we've never heard of.
Yep.
As far as horror movies we haven't heard of, has anyone seen Night of the Creeps? This is gonna be like people are screaming online because they've all seen Night of the Creeps, but I'm just guessing that y'all haven't seen Night of the Creeps.
I feel like I've seen parts of it, but I can't actually say if I've seen
Let
it
me
all.
give you this, because this is layer upon layer upon layer too. So Night of the Creeps has a alien ship, alright, and man, I hope I'm remembering this right. And they launch something off of the alien ship, and this is in the 50s, and a mental patient has escaped, an axe murderer, and it's showing it from the 50s standpoint. And I don't remember how it all goes, but these little, if anyone's seen Slither,
Oh, yeah.
little
Yeah.
leech-looking slidey things
Ugh.
are getting in people and turning them into killers and zombies and stuff. And so then this guy gets frozen, like one of the people that got killed or whatever, like that night in the 50s, gets frozen and is in the local like medical ward. Like there's a small little room, and some kids get in there and they're trying to steal a cadaver, and this thing's head cracks open and this little slimy, leashy little slug, if you will, slides out of there.
Yeah.
And these slugs jump in your mouth, and all of a sudden you're like a zombie.
Oh, so it's like literally Slither.
Yeah, it's like Slither. It's
Okay.
a lot like Slither. It's pre-Slither. It's
So it's
called
a
Night of
50
the Creeps.
Night of the
And
Creeps.
there's a great scene in this movie where, first of all, the guy from, you'll like this, I think his name's Atkinson. He's the main character in Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. He's in this movie. And when he answers the phone, he just says, "Thrill me." Like literally, that's his opening line. Like when he answers the phone, like, you gotta really be on your game if you're gonna talk to this guy, because you gotta thrill him as soon as he picks up the phone.
Is he an aspiring actor or an agent or something?
So it's great. And then these slither things, for lack of a better term, are jumping in people, but it's prom night too. All right, there's a lot of layers. Okay,
Oh, God, there it is. Prom night.
Sorority dressed up for prom or some dance or
course it's
something,
prom night. It's
and
always
all the
prom
guys
What do
are
you
on a
expect?
school bus to come pick them up. The school bus crashes. They all get infected with these, and now they're coming as all the grooms are showed up, and the same thrill me guy, he looks out the window and says, "Ladies, your dates are here. Bad news, they're all dead." Right?
Wow.
And these zombie monster things, and one of the chicks in this movie, the main chick, it's got two guys that are main guys, and one of them gets X'd out pretty quick, but the main chick, she has like a flamethrower from somewhere, and she's flamethrowing them. And they're killing them with like basically a lighter and a
Hairspray, yeah.
lighter that's burning them up. So great movie. If you haven't seen Night of the Creeps, any horror fan should see this movie. It is pretty good. So that's my movie that y'all probably haven't seen. And I'm right.
There's another one that comes to mind, but here's the problem. I'm having the same problem you're having, Nate.
Yeah, I had to look it up.
No. Well, here's the thing. I don't know if I'm looking it up or not. It's a fever dream. I don't know if it's real, like how you were with Langoliers. I don't know if it's
done.
I don't know
Okay,
if I
Roger, thrill me.
Okay, so-
Throw me, Roger, go.
So apparently, this movie that I heard I seen a clip of, it's called The Stuff.
Yes! Are you kidding
Okay,
me?
so it is
Are you
real.
fucking kidding
So
me
it
right
is
now?
real. Okay.
Don't even get me started on The Stuff. That's one of my favorite B horror movies, literally of all time.
I just remember like white shaving cream,
Yes.
blob shit.
Yes.
That's- okay.
Any sour cream.
All right, look,
Okay,
I'm gonna
so
go.
it is real. I'm
Yes.
not crazy.
I have a stuffed cup. I have a stuffed cup prop that I got as a birthday present like years ago from my brother. That's sitting on my desk right now.
Okay.
And let me tell you,
That's okay.
It wasn't a fever dream.
It was
Look,
actually real.
I'll
Like,
blow your mind right now. So the room that they got the Johnny Depp blood killer scene in that rotates. It's the same scene in The Stuff when the stuff is
Same
crawling
room.
up the wall. It's the exact same room in Hollywood.
Really?
That they shot that in.
I
yeah.
did not know
No one
this.
almost got shocked doing that.
Yeah,
Probably
that's
they did,
Yeah.
That's a great point. People almost got shocked at that room because
Well, first of all, it was the whole set
from
turned
like the
upside
Nightmare on
down.
Elm Street here.
Oh God, here we go.
So the whole room it was actually built to turn upside down. They poured all that fake blood into it, but water being water broke the set, pushed everything to the side, and then it's water on all this electrical equipment.
Yeah,
It's a
the
set.
lamps are still lit in this kid's room.
Oh, electrical
And there's
appliances is
camera
fine, right?
lines, there's electrical lines under the unit itself, and it's just people nearly got shot.
All right, I'm going to do a quick reset for you folks so you can picture this. In Nightmare on Elm Street, they built a room that rotated. This gave the appearance when Johnny Depp got sucked into the bed that blood literally showered. They poured drums of blood, and it's just pouring onto the ceiling, right? Because the camera's upside down, or the room is actually upside down. So they used this same room setup that spun around in the stuff to make it look like the stuff is crawling up the wall. It's really just using gravity and the camera being turned the other way. So it's really, really a neat effect. But yeah, it did shock some people on the set.
Just a bit.
So,
Okay, I am
those are
very
good.
glad it's a real thing.
Yeah, that's a real thing. The stuff. Man.
Literally one of my favorite movies of all time.
One of my favorite memories as a kid is, and you're talking about a poor kid growing up on the east side of Fort Worth, one of my fun things to do was to go into video stores and look at all the horror movie boxes and read the back of them. So I actually knew a lot about horror movies that I'd never seen just by reading the synopsis on the back and looking at the pictures.
We all went to
I
Blockbuster.
remember there was a 7-Eleven, and back then you could rent VHS tapes at your local convenience store.
At a 7-Eleven?
At a 7-Eleven.
I'm done.
We went to Tom Thumb for ours.
Yeah, Tom Thumb.
We went
Yeah,
right
totally,
over
you
here.
get it, what's going on. But they
Oh, yeah.
had their movies by the window, and I remember there was the stuffed box, which is really cool because it shows a guy melting at the front. It's an artwork. It was melting at the front of his refrigerator. Anyway, it was all sun bleached and everything. I could see like the whole.
Oh yeah,
all the colors
those are the
washed
best
out.
ones. It's been there for God knows when.
So anyway, yeah, the stuff. I love that.
Okay, so
You brought the stuff, man. This is
I'm glad
Yeah,
somebody
I-
brought up the stuff.
This
Yeah, I was like-
podcast if the stuff gets brought up.
yeah, I was like,
Well, so,
It's got the
can
I just did not
can
know
we
this.
say you were thrilled?
Yeah, you-
I was equally thrilled.
did.
You literally talked about my favorite movie of all
That's
time like it didn't
Podcast
exist.
over. Cut the check.
Roll credits.
You thrilled me.
because like for
So-
me, oh definitely. I'm like, hey,
Let's talk about another category: Universal monsters. So,
ooh,
if you're thinking of Universal monsters, so we can just name them off. You got your Frankenstein, and
Wolfman.
Dracula, and Wolfman,
Yeah.
and the Creature from the Black Lagoon, and the Mummy.
yeah.
So when I was growing up on that, I didn't get a lot into the Universal Monster movie. The person who was in the Universal is my mom. She loves Universal Monster.
Okay, cool.
She was huge in Dracula, and I think that was probably the obvious on that thing. You had the overly handsome guy and everything.
That charisma, man.
The charisma, all that there. You had Frankenstein, which was a very interesting idea of pulling body parts together, and then shocking him to life, and now you got Frankenstein's monster, which his name is Frankenstein's monster.
Not Frankenstein.
Not Dr. Frankenstein.
He was Frankenstein was the doctor. He was the
So
doctor.
we call him Frankenstein because we're lazy. So
Everybody's
We don't
name.
put doctor in
would
front.
just confuse people. So Frankenstein's monster.
And you had the Mummy. And then you started having movies where they started combining, where it was like,
Oh, yeah,
the
the
Wolfman
versus
meets
movies.
his, yeah.
Yeah,
They got to meet each other, man. These guys are great.
I would love to see that.
So, like,
They gotta remodernize.
we're
that.
talking about classic horror movies. I actually had to look it back up because all the black and white like horror movies really run together. Yeah, they all look like the same movie.
They all seem to
But,
be the
like,
same at this point.
There's a movie called Son of Frankenstein, which
Yes.
it's got Boris Karloff and Bela Lugosi in it.
Oh,
and as far as like classic
giants.
Universal, I mean, you're
Oh,
talking
God.
about this is like the MCU, like Avengers Infinity War
Yeah.
of like classic horror movies.
Of the
And it's just like
Universals.
it is amazing, like front to back. Lugosi and Boris Karloff are just like incredible the whole movie.
For me, that's what makes Frankenstein's monster was Boris Karloff. Like for me, if you ever mentioned Frankenstein's monster, it was like, okay, people were like, how old are you? Yeah, I wasn't around obviously when Frankenstein came out, but I was like, you know what? For me, growing up, my parents had some aunts and uncles. They were all big in the movies too. So I'm like, so when I saw Boris Karloff, I was like, hey, this is Boris Karloff. He plays Frankenstein's monster. Like, okay,
Play every day.
Wasn't he also the Mummy?
Probably.
right? I wouldn't be surprised.
Lon Chaney was like everybody.
Yeah.
Boris Karloff, Bela Lugosi, these are
Every monster ever. You think of a monster, it's one of them.
Yeah, it's one
Yeah,
of them.
and the funny thing is, like, for the name like Boris Karloff, for me that's a hard name to forget. You just can't like say Boris Karloff. Oh, it's just another actor. Good.
That's a name that sounds like you were made to become a movie monster.
Yeah.
My favorite maybe even a little later era guy in movies was Vincent Price, just based on his voice.
That voice.
I
yes.
love Vincent Price
But yeah,
by far.
everybody does.
He was
You
in
hear
Thriller.
it. Yeah, he was
Yeah.
in Thriller. You hear the voice in that.
The original House on Haunted Hill.
Original House on it, yeah.
So Vincent Price is great from that era, but we're gonna stay with the monsters in these classic Universal themes.
Right.
With any of those monsters, what is your favorite of those? Don't think of it in Universal terms.
Yeah.
Think of it because Universal wasn't the be all end all. I mean, Mary
Yeah.
Shelley was the Frankenstein.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
exactly.
So we've now grouped them into Universal monsters. But
Yeah.
what is the greatest monster from the Universal? And we're talking now. There's a billion
There's
werewolf movies. There's a billion vampire movies.
Exactly,
There's a billion, there's not as many Frankenstein movies. There's a few mummy movies.
There is.
So-
Definitely.
So what do you think's the best?
Well, to me, I mean, I like Frankenstein idea because I had an uncle who used to love to do the Frankenstein thing at night, which is put the arms out, walk on this, and then all of us was a little just like and all that. But I've always liked Frankenstein. And, we did the book thing in school. We learned about the Mary Shelley stories and everything, and how that got wrote up. But then you read more into the whole idea of Frankenstein trying to kind of find himself in a sense. He's not a person in this per
He's
se.
misunderstood
but
for sure.
Yeah,
misunderstood.
definitely.
He's able to run for forever because he doesn't have like a stamina limit. He can swim for like crazy forever.
Jesus, I didn't know this. He's like a decathlon.
Triathlon, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, because there's whole stories where he's trying to find himself and go about all these big
Like,
things.
what's his purpose? Why
And
was
his
he
whole
made?
purpose on why he was made, but he was made just because some guy was like, put all these body parts
I'm
together.
gonna do this.
I'm
Like,
gonna
I'm gonna make it
some
come to life.
electricity into it.
He can
You
come
know, if
alive.
someone would have just believed in Dr. Frankenstein, he probably wouldn't have had such a "I'm going to get this shit done" kind of attitude.
Oh,
His
Jesus.
friend was a hunchback. How far do you think he was going to get? You got to get all the Igor.
Couple things with touching on Frankenstein's monster and Frankenstein. So great from the original black and white. One of the greatest scenes is he's actually getting along really well with this little girl. It's
Yeah.
really sweet, and he just dumps her in the water and she drowns. But it's like he didn't mean to do it, kind of thing. So I
Yeah.
always kind of felt sorry for him.
It's a very like of mice and men kind of thing.
Yeah.
So the second, but Bride of Frankenstein, I love the fact that he's like makes friends with a blind guy in the woods and
Yeah.
smokes. Like Frankenstein's
Yeah.
actually smoking.
Yeah, he got the whole like, the
But
lights up the cigarette.
The thing that's rough about Frankenstein, as far as why I couldn't name him my favorite, is because he cannot be improved on. Like any
Yeah.
other representation of Frankenstein since these early black and white movies have been terrible.
Yeah.
Like they're pretty much awful. I'll give you maybe the Frankenstein out of Monster Squad was pretty cool, or Frankenstein's Monster. But out of the movie Monster Squad, he was pretty great because he was kind of a good guy and helped the kids, and I like that. But other than that, you're really
Okay,
Oh,
so-
don't forget, since we're in the arcade and you love your retro games, don't forget there's also a Reebok tie-in game with Frankenstein's monster. And you are running around, you're playing it, and his name is Frankie in that, of course. And if you need to get a movie a little faster, you pick up Reebok shoes, and he's able to run faster and jump higher. I'll find it again. I saw it on an Angry Video Game Nerd, but it made me think of that.
He'll-
Okay,
he'll,
so-
he'll send you a message on Facebook.
So I have two curveballs to throw you. Since we're talking
Ooh,
about
I gotta hear this.
Frankenstein, two curveballs I got to throw you. So two of my favorite Frankenstein's monsters kind of characters growing up is the Frankenstein's monster from Van Helsing. Yeah, yes, I loved it. I had that movie. I had that movie on DVD. I watched it literally nonstop as a kid. That was like my kind of introduction to like the Frankenstein type character. I wasn't really into those like Universal movies as a kid, but the other total left field Frankenstein monsters character was I Frankenstein. If anybody remembers that.
Oh, yeah, I saw.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I saw that one.
I liked that a lot too.
It was enjoyable.
Where
I
he
will
tried
admit.
he had to like find his own name and he kind of grew into himself as a character.
Yeah,
And,
I will admit I do agree with you on that one because I was kind of expecting okay, he's gonna be Frankenstein, but like.
Well, to be fair, what's the most known Frankenstein now is Hotel Transylvania Frankenstein.
People were mad at I Frankenstein because the guy that played Frankenstein was Frankenstein's monster was hot. That's why people
he was
were
a
mad
handsome
about
lad.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was handsome. So we were like, oh, that can't be the real
Are you telling me
Frankenstein's
in the
monster.
age- well, I guess it's back then, but now in the age where everything can be just made hot all of a sudden.
Okay, hold on.
Oh.
I'll throw one more Frankenstein curveball if you
Ooh,
will.
here we go.
Who is the all-time best Frankenstein outside? We're talking about Frankenstein's monster. We don't get crazy in the comments here.
Being lazy again.
Herman Munster, bro.
Yes.
Best one.
My dad always loved watching like TV Land and all that.
Greatest sports star ever.
I love the Munsters.
He can hit a ball out of the park. He can box and just murder the other guy.
Oh, yeah.
He can dunk. I mean, he can do any of these things. He was the Bo Jackson
Oh, yeah.
of Universal Monsters.
He rolled around that badass
Herman
V8.
can do everything.
Herman Munster, oh my god.
The Munstermobile, he rolled around in that
Yeah.
badass Munstermobile.
See, now I can see that kind of raises a question for me. So, the Addams Family, is Lurch classified as a Frankenstein's monster, or is Lurch?
No.
He's literally a lurch.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
like I wouldn't
I
rope
think
him
he's
into
considered
that.
more of a tall man than anything else.
Yeah.
I would say that too.
Because he's kind of
Phantasm-esque.
Yeah, because
Fair enough.
He's not built out of body parts.
okay.
Depending on your copywriting, he doesn't have the neck bolts. And he's not green.
Yeah.
I think the original Frankenstein's monster idea was he's supposed to be gray.
Like, yeah,
That's like the whole.
He didn't have
all the
neck.
different colors of
He
the
didn't
ball.
have neck
like
stitches.
gray patches,
Yeah,
red,
or the
green.
flat top.
Flat top, you
Is
gotta
the
remember.
Hulk really just a jacked Frankenstein monster?
No, because he's not
No.
built out of multiple things.
He does have the flat
He's more of
top
a-
of his head, though.
I
I mean,
think Hulk is
the
more of
old
like a
cartoons,
Jekyll and
yes.
Hyde character for sure.
Yeah. Well, no, it's not definitely green.
It's just funny because he's green and like Stan Lee was like, I'm gonna make.
I think Stan Lee has done.
I
I think Stan Lee's done more drugs than he admitted he did.
so.
Ready for
Ryan,
that.
Say the
you
same
got
ways we're better.
you got a Universal one of these monsters that's turned into other movies and been awesome.
so
Talk about the Mummy.
unfortunately, Tate, I'm sorry, that's not my favorite. So, for some reason, growing up, one of my favorite movie monsters by far will always be the vampires.
Yes.
Like it's the concept of the vampires. Like they're charismatic, they're practically immortal.
You like Edward Cullen, don't you?
Well, in his prime,
What's
yes,
Edward Cullen?
right. Like I'll take in his prime, Tate, just for you, just for you, Tate.
I'm gonna pretend I don't know.
Right? I don't know who that boy is. Just for you, just to spite you.
Hey, the
In his
Twilight
prime.
movies were made so that like people could fantasize about fucking vampires. We all know.
Don't talk about Cedric
Don't, don't.
Every vampire has more
Right.
effable vampires.
But you know, like because
You know, I want to see Christian Stewart voting it in again.
that was weird. Next thing you know,
Child, you went for alone.
it's all fun and games. We get comments, "Hey man, leave me alone." Oh shit! But like no, 'cause I just remember watching Gary Oldman's Dracula with the
Yeah, that was great.
but then this guy. But after watching Gary Oldman and then later on watching Leslie Nielsen's Mel Brooks Dracula, that for me, I just had so much fun with that movie as a kid. It's like if they can get this funny with this type of vampire, like
Anytime you think about Sean Reeves again,
he was a handsome lad. That's right, he was a handsome lad. But Leslie Nielsen's Dracula probably one of my favorite ones, only because like Mel Brooks knew he was like, I'm gonna fuck around in this movie. Let's have some fun. I'm not take it seriously because it's Leslie Nielsen. You can't go wrong with that man. Exactly. And so, but just the concept of them, charismatic. They can get what they want. Just immortal. Bats. They can turn to bats.
What was the Johnny Depp I'm a Vampire in the 70s movie?
Oh shit.
Wasn't it Johnny Depp who was like the vampire and he wakes
No,
up and
Dark
he's in the
Shadows.
70s?
Dark Shadows, yeah.
oh yeah.
Which was a Barnaby something or another. I forgot
Yeah.
what the actual TV series was Dark Shadows, but yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did they build?
That was a
house?
movie I saw.
I saw that movie.
Yeah.
That was definitely a movie.
That was on film.
Well, like, watching the old school black and white, watching the old ones, like, seeing him like all,
Dude, he
You
was
know?
really pimped though. Bela Lugosi's
Yeah.
Dracula was really
Bro, he was stunting everywhere he went. His cape was like
Women
velvet. He had
Yeah.
rings. Like he had the
like
chains.
he was like,
He knew
balling.
it.
And like
was,
people around the town knew who he was.
And yeah, dude.
And if anybody who ever really did a costume for Dracula is always that version.
Yeah.
Oh,
he
Nice
is the
button shirt,
definitive.
medallion.
Yup.
My dad did.
Yeah.
And that was the Dracula he did.
He
But-
is Dracula. Like
Yeah,
no,
he
when you
is.
think of a Dracula, that's him.
Like,
And
people
so,
don't know his name, but you know it. If you see his face,
It's so good.
and the thing about Lugosi is like his accent. Where was he from? Was he like Czech or?
like it was a Czech
Where's he
Republic
from?
or
Get this right. You're gonna
Yeah,
get screamed
I'm gonna get
at.
destroyed in the comments.
Can we get a fact
Dear
checker?
Lord, he's from Hungary. What's wrong? He's from Transylvania, guys. You don't know where he's from. Come on.
The person, the actor behind it.
I know.
The actor behind
I'm
it.
just
I mean, if I look at technical, he's from Wallachia, but I mean, I'm not gonna go that far in there.
So I agree with Roger.
Oh, I will tell you real quick. You were right. He was Hungarian.
Bang!
So-
The lexicon of my brain.
So the Hungarian accent that made the like, "Blah, I'm
I
Dracula"
will drink your
sound.
blood.
That's literally
want your blood.
Hungaria and
Blah.
Lugosi invented that.
I love
He
that.
did.
Yeah.
So before I get on my Dracula/vampire rant, what's your favorite? Take
My favorite what again?
Monster.
Universal-esque. What, a monster
Oh, my
comes from the
favorite-
Universal universe.
Yeah, see, man, I think about all of like the Universal monsters. Like you got Wolfman, you got the Mummy, you got Dracula, you got Frankenstein's monster.
Black Lagoon.
Yeah, as far as like the thing that I'm drawn to the most is like the Wolfman is like as far as like an American Werewolf in London or like
That was a good movie.
or it's the underworld transformation scenes with like the werewolf.
Because that movie used to scare the shit out of me, American Werewolf in London, but I couldn't stop watching it. I'm sitting there
Right.
terrified, just like.
And of course you got Michael J. Fox, Teen Wolf.
I'm about to say,
Oh,
you
yeah.
like Teen
Yeah,
Wolf? What about Teen Wolf?
I know that's not a horror movie, but I'm talking about that's a werewolf, and it's
It's-
like
yeah.
By the way,
I,
it's free to watch on YouTube. Maybe you
yeah.
haven't
Oh,
seen it.
wow.
yeah,
I know I'm
free
doing
plug
today.
by the way.
The Howling movies. The Howling.
That's
Howling.
familiar.
These are scary werewolves, man. They got really tall ears and they're really eerily tall with big long faces, and they're sketchy looking, man. There's some scary werewolves.
Just
I'll
to
definitely
tell
check
you
it out.
like how much I love werewolves is that every time I play D&D, I'm definitely get stricken with lycanthropy as fast as I can.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
I love
okay.
the fucking dynamic between because even the lycanthropy thing is like depending on what you're watching, it's usually like the fucking full moon happens and you just murder shit and you have no control over what you're doing, and then it's like you wake up as a human and you're like, what the? I don't know what I did last night. Who the fuck's dead now? I love that
What's all this
dynamic.
blood on me?
Yeah, I
At
love
least
that
you don't discriminate
dynamic.
either. You're not discriminatory either. You
Yeah.
just kill everything in your
Yeah,
wake.
like and that's what I love about werewolves is they just have this like monster and they just don't know what to fucking do with it. It just every time a werewolf's introduced, there's just some kind of character dynamic there that I just like to latch onto.
There's a really cool, to touch on this werewolf subject here, there's a really cool movie, I believe it's called Howl, you can look up, and this is a movie where they're on a train, like a train that's cutting through the woods or whatever, and the train stops, and they get attacked by werewolves, and they all start turning into werewolves, and there's some great gore, good transformations.
Oh, I definitely have to look into that.
Yeah, I think
Same
it's
here.
Howl, I believe is what
Howl?
it's called.
Okay.
Howl.
Definitely.
Not H-A-L, like you're howling.
There's a recent vampire movie where they were on an airplane being taken by terrorists, and one of them on there is an actual vampire. She ends up infecting everything.
Yes, I saw
Have
this
no
movie.
idea what y'all are
I
talking
saw
about.
I'm
this movie,
listening.
and it's really good. She turns into one of those really shitty, like. All right, so
Kinda
let's get on
ghoulish.
the vampire topic here because
There
that
we
was
go.
my favorite. She turns into what I call the crappiest version of a vampire. Like instantly, your ears get pointed, you go bald. And
So the
Oh,
Yeah,
Nosferatu
you
vampire.
turn into
Nosferatu,
Nosferatu.
okay.
Suckiest kind of vampire.
So they went that route. They did
You're like-
Nosferatu version.
You're like,
Okay.
oh, you know, you're a vampire that's just shy of being a zombie or a mutant or something. And you're like,
Aren't they
this
called
sucks,
ghouls?
man.
Like if you
Yeah,
know.
you're a ghoul.
Yeah, 'cause they-
Yeah, you know,
You're a ghoul.
totally,
Yeah,
yeah.
because like if a vampire gets like a non-version person tries to transform them, don't they become ghouls because they're not pure?
I don't know, man. There's so many.
Well, it's a lore thing.
Okay,
It's
so
many.
I think it depends because the one I know the one you're probably quoting is the Helsing
Yeah.
ghoul because that's what happens if a non-pure person becomes infected by a vampire. They
Yeah.
become a ghoul. Which is why when Alucard, right before he's about to shoot that vampire, he has Ceres, is like, "Are you a virgin?" She goes, "Yes, I'm a virgin." She just blasts right through her heart and gets the guy. And
Yeah.
saves her.
The reason I really gravitate toward that vampire is because you can do so much with it, and you're
Exactly.
defined only by the rules of like the sun and the stake through the heart, and you got a lot of things that can ward him off. But you can be a total ghoul, nasty, just like they're just a horde, like almost like
Yeah.
zombies, but with powers.
Like an under night
or
army.
You can be Gary Oldman and,
Yeah.
and the
Charismatic.
stats of the world.
So
Yeah.
it's like playing Vampire the Masquerade.
Exactly.
It
Yeah.
could be Blade, man.
Exactly. Yeah.
Seriously?
It is very versatile of what they've done with the vampire concept.
And in the second Blade, which I think is criminally underrated, the vampire is mutated, and it's got like that big opening face
yeah,
thing.
the predator
killer,
face?
yeah, the killer Pomeranians with the predator face.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
that might have been the third one, and I hate that one.
I like all of them. Roast me in the comments.
His name is Tate, by the way.
No, it's okay.
Make sure you point out
Do you
Tate.
really want to roast somebody? I haven't seen the Blade.
Wow.
That's
I
fair.
am very surprised.
It's been long enough time. They've been out of the ether for long enough. Like, it's not your fault.
I like Wesley Snipes because I love Demolition Man.
Oh,
That's a whole other podcast.
That's another time for that's another story for another time.
But you can just do so much with them. Lost Boys, we're talking
Yeah.
like
Oh, yeah,
Kiefer Sutherland.
because you like Lost Boys.
yeah, I love Lost Boys.
Yeah, that's another good one.
It's like a perfect movie for me. So another wonderful vampire movie, and again another top five for me is Fright Night. Has anyone seen Fright Night?
Yes, I
Nah, I can't
remember
say
that
that I
one.
have.
Oh my god! So Fright
It
Night's
is.
great, and a great concept. Jerry Dandridge is the vampire, and he moves into a vacant house that's been vacant by a kid named Charlie. There's a kid named Charlie, lives in a house, and the house next door is vacant. So Charlie's making out with his girlfriend one night, looks out the window. First scene of the movie, I'm not giving a whole lot away there. He's looking out the window, and he sees two dudes carrying a coffin into this house that they're buying
Dude,
next
I
door.
think I've seen
Yeah.
parts of this movie now that you're
Well, they
talking about
remade
it.
it. All right,
Yeah.
the remake's
Okay.
not all that great. But,
Who knows which one I've seen now?
All right.
So, but anyway, it's so great because, and this will segue into another thing, which is great. 'Cause I love how horror movies just kind of mix with stuff.
Oh yeah.
He has no one to tell. Like everyone he tells, he tries to sell the cops, they don't believe him. Tries to sell his mom, tries to sell his girlfriend, tries to tell his friend that his neighbor is a vampire because he sees him one night drink the blood of this chick, right?
Yeah.
And kills her, and then the chick ends up on the news is missing with her head cut off next door, or like
Yeah.
behind a barn somewhere.
They find her body
And
with
he's
corpse.
trying to convince everybody that his neighbor's a vampire, and the vampire knows that he knows. So
Yeah.
he's trying to keep his mouth shut.
Yeah.
Without killing him because it's going to kind of, right next door. So
Yeah.
there's this,
I've seen this movie before.
So-
there's
Did
this chemistry between the two that's great. But who does he try to enlist but the local horror host, Peter Vincent?
Yes.
Horror movies on Friday nights or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's so great because and he's trying to convince him who he's just an actor. He's not really Peter Vincent, the great vampire killer, as he portrays on this horror
Yeah,
host.
so I feel like I've seen this movie maybe a long time ago. Isn't there a scene in that movie where the vampire invites the kid over to his house at one point?
Yeah.
And he's showing him like everything's cool and everything, and the
Yeah.
kid the whole time like knows he's a
Vampire
vampire.
tests.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the ones you've seen, was it with David Tennant, or was it? Do you remember seeing David Tennant?
Dude, I'm like, I'm so foggy at this point. I know.
Farrell plays Jerry Dandridge.
Yeah.
I
saw
understand
them
the
both.
concept.
I remember seeing. I saw them both.
Like
I'm
I know the
okay.
concept of this movie, but I just have nothing else other than
Actually,
that.
it's in Helsing.
So
Okay,
that's,
yeah, that's what I thought that,
is,
yeah. I was like,
that is
he was
my.
somebody,
I
a
think
vampire
vampires. You
hunter.
can do the most with it. I mean, they can be
Yeah.
a punk rock guy in the '80s that sleeps in a cave, or it can be a guy
That's
who's
okay.
right next door and lives in a
house.
It's okay. It's the
Exactly.
safest movie
Or
monster.
he live in a castle in Transylvania, or it can be sexy, or it can be just downright horrible, like the Strain, where they're got big things that come out of them,
Or was it 30 Days of Night?
Because with vampires can't come out, you don't invite them in.
They have a lot of rules.
They-
Vampire
they-
is the gremlin of the Universal monster. 'Cause
There's
they have
a
all these
lot of
rules.
fine print to what they can and can't do.
So I just had an idea. This is a total non sequitur in every version of the word, but so I just thought of a horror movie that's one of my favorite horror movies of all time. That I'm almost certain that at least y'all two haven't seen. Maybe my brother's seen Pandorum.
Oh, he
It
does
sounds
like
familiar.
Pandorum.
It does sound familiar.
It's a space horror movie. I want to say. So if I had to compare it to something, it'd be like Event Horizon, which is another awesome sci-fi horror
Yeah.
movie that I like.
Yeah, that one is.
So like space horror movies for me, it's like Event Horizon, Pandorum, and like Aliens with an S.
Ooh, Aliens. That was a.
And Tate thought he was a non sequitur. Our next subject is sci-fi horror movies.
Yay!
We can talk about this.
They just happened to fall into
Connected like
place.
the twins in the Shining. Hey,
There it is.
Okay.
Okay.
When it comes down to sci-fi horror movies,
Yeah.
I think one that a lot of people don't think about is the 1980s first Terminator, because that is considered a horror movie.
But is it a sci-fi horror
It is a
movie?
sci-fi thriller,
Yeah.
but it is also considered a horror movie.
I would.
Action.
Man, yeah.
It does feel more action.
No, don't get it. It is still a sci-fi action movie, but it's a thriller. But it's still a horror
Look.
because it is a non-stopping monster, if you will.
I've listened to the Terminator original soundtrack a billion times because of how badass it is. And I understand, like, he's daunting, he's big, he's nasty, horrible Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's jacked out of his mind.
You can shoot him as much as you want. You can try to, you know,
Well, he
hit him
definitely
with a
keeps
car.
coming.
He
From that standpoint.
He's got,
Yeah.
that's like, I guess you could say that, like, the Terminator is like a horror movie villain-esque character.
I wouldn't say it's
I have a hard
100%.
time. See, that's where I
Yeah,
have a hard time with
but
that.
that's the thing. It's not 100%. But a lot of people don't realize that it is still technically
But
considered.
It's
He's
scary.
He's an-
Don't get me
yeah.
wrong, it is
He's
scary.
a horror movie villain in the same way as you would say, like, he's an unstoppable, unwavering threat that will do everything to make you fucking
Exactly.
dead.
Sci-fi Jason Voorhees.
Yeah, but even then when you say
I
sci-fi
like
Jason
sci-fi.
Voorhees, it still
I love
doesn't.
Jason X.
Yeah, I love
One of my
Jason X
favorites.
too, but Jason X and the original Terminator ain't got shit in common.
Right, I agree.
He's-
I agree.
well,
but
if you want to make
other than
comparisons,
he's
he's
unstoppable. He keeps coming.
Yeah,
Well, if
that's
you
what I'm
make
saying.
the-
That's the only thing they have in
That's the
common.
comparison.
Yeah,
Well, I would say if you want a more accurate comparison, I would compare T-100 Arnie Terminator to Michael at this point
Okay.
because they both like same concept, nonstop. They
Going
keep
back to
going.
Halloween Kills where he's
You know.
now got like 80 bullets in him.
Yeah, so concept-wise, I would say he's more.
don't make me
close-
talk about the Terminatrix.
Oh, yeah,
That's enough out of you.
Enough. We gotta stick to the podcast.
Exactly, we gotta stick with
See, I
the-
still feel that's more action because it does lead into.
Oh no, that's a total action movie. That's a sci-fi
It's-
action movie
it's
forever.
exciting, but it's still chill. But anyways, like I said, that one I always get a kick out
That's
of.
fair.
But of course, like I was saying,
It's your world, baby.
Jason X, I love Jason X.
So that's your sci-fi horror.
I was getting a kick out of it.
What about you,
So for me, it's-
Roger? Sorry.
right?
People can't see this.
We haven't got a camera yet. For me, by far, like in my opinion, one of the good ones is going to be Aliens because I remember.
The second Aliens with an S, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
because like
All right,
watching
so
this as a
now we're
kid,
in another debate. Go ahead.
like watching this as a kid, I'm not gonna lie, I straight up that scared the piss out of me.
Aliens or Alien?
The sequel, number 2.
See,
What are we talking about here?
well, it's, I'm taking a page from your book, Tate. It's been a long time, so they kind of melded together. They kind of like the aliens, kind of like all became one. But
Nice tagline.
so
Alien 2 has got all the colonial marines in it, and Alien 1 has got Sigourney Weaver in her underwear.
yeah, so
That back was, still really cute.
Sigourney Weaver's hot right now. Somebody fight me.
somebody. Oh
Oh
yes, no,
I
man,
saw her
no.
in an interview for that. The movies and
When I saw her-
Aliens,
when
and
I
she's
saw her-
still really good looking.
Yeah, oh
I
yeah.
saw her wearing a dress in Paul. I was like, look at that, she still looks good.
She still looks good to this day.
Anyway,
But
Aliens, go.
so yeah, the concept. It was. I say it was the first one. The whole busting out of the chest.
Chest bursters, man.
And see, to me at the time, see, the thing that scared me the most about that one, it wasn't so much as like busting out chest. It was more like when he disappeared. I'm like, okay, they're trying to find it. But
That's
the fact,
Alien. Okay.
but the fact of the matter was like, you see this little worm, little shit thing crawl away, but then 20 minutes later, there's this big ass giant alien who's like, boom, boom,
Wait,
like,
hold
It's
on.
growing fast.
Yeah.
Are you telling me it didn't put on a little hat and had a cane and
Yeah! Hello,
Okay.
my baby. Hello.
That was the other Aliens movie called Spaceballs.
Yes, that's.
if it had that, I would not be as scared. But so I'm gonna take it. This is all for you, Cody. This is all for my buddy right here. I know his favorite. I'm probably sure it's your favorite. Was The Thing. Is yours The Thing, Cody?
Man,
Yes.
I got so okay. Look, I know
That's
you
his
said the
favorite.
We're
thing.
not allowed to talk about things while I talk about them.
Okay, this is all
Fair enough. So for now, for me, it's gonna be the first Aliens. Anyway, so
Take what you got.
That-
Okay,
that's
so
for me.
I've already mentioned it, but I'm going to mention it again. So I'm really torn. So you're talking about sci-fi horror, all right?
Yeah.
Just to kind of give you a preface, I am the biggest Doom nerd of all time. I love Doom everything. I like the first 3 Dooms. I like Doom 2016. I like Doom Eternal. Everything.
It's a
that's
great game. It's a great series.
Look,
Awesome.
priests have been trying to kill demons for years. They just never had the idea to use a shotgun. Okay.
no,
A
they just
super
haven't
shotgun.
become so angry
to die.
that nothing
So-
stops you from taking a shotgun and a chainsaw.
So I love like the space marine horror sci-fi. That's like the bar none for me. So I'm really torn between. This kind of goes into also horrors. Hellraiser is another super fun movie of mine. So I love Doom,
Oh,
and I
I'd
love
say
Doom,
Our buddy
and I
Brad would
love.
love you so much. 'cause
all
he
the
loves
Hellraiser
that
movies.
series.
See, I think of Hellraiser is not as much as sci-fi.
No, this is this.
Okay.
You're gonna, this is where I'm gonna connect the dots here. So I love Doom and I love Hellraiser. Best combination of those two: Event Horizon.
Okay.
Event
Fair enough,
Horizon
yeah, okay.
is the Hellraiser in space movie that the actual Hellraiser Bloodlines wasn't. and that movie goes hard as shit.
It's really, really.
That
scary,
movie
good.
devolves. That movie takes like
Sam
sci-fi
Neill's- Sam
and
Neill's
just
performance in it was amazing.
that movie just devolves into
I just remember
absolute
him
madness.
not
by the
having
end.
eyes.
Even if there's not dinosaurs, he still pulls it off.
Yeah,
My
when
man
he,
had no eyes.
he becomes Pinhead, like he becomes like the center of this horrible hellscape.
Yeah. I was
And
like, what the fuck?
it's like
Why
I don't
not
think
Sam?
I don't think
Dr.
there's,
Grant, no.
there's not another sci-fi movie that I think can convey the horror of we accidentally made a portal to hell and we don't know what to fucking do about it besides
So,
Event Horizon.
Event Horizon is the name of the spaceship, and it has disappeared, and all of a sudden it's reappeared, and where it has been is hell. Like it's been
Like
in
literal hell.
and
Yeah,
came back.
they made a warp drive to try and travel the stars, and they accidentally warped to hell and ruined everybody's
Very,
lives.
very Doom-like.
Yeah,
Very much
that's what I'm saying. It's
Yeah.
Doom and Hellraiser put together.
Okay,
i.e., perfect
that makes
movie.
sense.
Could you say it could lead to Doom? Because all it is just one thing killing a bunny away from becoming Doom.
It's one guy with a machine gun away from being Doom.
Yeah.
Well, that's what starts Doom.
Yeah.
Is they kill his rabbit.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, we
You're-
have the angriest man ever. The man who never gets
Literally
PTSD.
the
The
angriest man
Doomslayer.
ever.
Because he is the PTSD.
So a little
about
bit
to
of
say.
cleanup from Rogers. He was talking about Alien. Alien is definitely a horror movie in space.
Yeah.
It's very basically a haunted house in space. And
Oh, yeah.
the alien is literally hiding just so they turn their flashlight on it and it goes boom and gets them.
Exactly. It was the Jumps
I love
concept.
it. And Tate's absolutely right. Sigourney Weaver, amazing.
She is still as good to this
Alien
day.
is one of my favorite action movies. I do not consider it horror because it is a
It's-
James
yeah, it's
Cameron
action.
movie.
Yeah,
It's
I
great.
will give you that one. Yeah.
So definitely Rogers Alien.
Game over, man.
Game over, man. Game over.
I just
All
remember.
right, keep this for Close Encounters.
Oh hell no!
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
We already made that reference.
So the Event Horizon is really tough to beat as far as a sci-fi horror movie. And my favorite horror movie, we're going to talk about that really quick, just because it does fall in the sci-fi range. I don't ever view it as a sci-fi horror movie. Because if I was going to say my favorite sci-fi horror movie, I'd probably agree with Tate. I think Event Horizon is the ultimate in like sci-fi horror.
Right.
But you mentioned The Thing. And
Yeah.
this is my... I'll just cut right to it. This is my favorite horror movie of all horror movies. And it does have a sci-fi element just because The Thing is alien. But it's not spent in space.
Thank you.
You
Thank
know,
you.
so that really takes it out of that sci-fi.
You're
world.
literally saying everything I was going to
Yeah.
say.
But-
it becomes something of this planet almost, but just
Eventually.
absolutely freaking horrible.
But the origin, I would consider as like science fiction
Totally.
as well.
Oh,
Yeah,
it
origin.
the very opening scene of the movie is a spacecraft crashing
Yeah.
into
Alaska or wherever.
Antarctica.
Antarctica, yeah.
And
Still to
this
this
this also qualifies as a perfect movie for me because the opening scene is literally these Swedes chasing a dog in a helicopter shooting at it. You're like
Yeah.
instantly dropped into the action and you don't know anything about anybody.
Yeah, like, why are they
It's
shooting
not-
this dog? Why are they
it's
trying to
not
kill him?
Kurt Russell. That alone
Amazing.
is a
Oh, yeah.
point, a checkpoint for this movie.
Right off the bat.
It doesn't have to rely on any 80s, 70s tropes, right? It doesn't. It doesn't have a female in it. So we're a topless scene, punishing sinners. It doesn't have any of that in it.
Hell
if
no.
it had a kid in it, that kid would die.
Oh,
it
hands
doesn't.
down.
The dogs die though, which is
yeah.
A
also
lot,
in
a
movie
lot of
means
fucking,
business.
a lot
When you
of
start
dogs
killing
die.
Animals. That also, going back to when the movie means business, it instantly murders. It murks everybody it gets
yeah.
a hold of.
Dogs die the hardest in that whole movie.
So,
They do.
Yeah. The special effects.
Oh God!
That's-
Don't even
Oh
get me
my
started.
God.
It's one,
yeah.
it's one of those old school movies where the special effects just hold up on it. You got Stan Winston, bring this one. You got Stan Winston that did Terminator 2.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And Terminator 2, to this day, holds up with its
Right.
Oh, yeah.
special effects. I mean, that's back when they were trying to figure out moving.
They knew what the limitations of technology were, and they
And they worked
had
with
to,
it.
they used that to every advantage
yeah.
they could.
The only
Yeah, well,
weak point
It's
in
terrifying because it's all practical effects.
Yeah.
the only weak point in the thing as far as the effects go is at the end the monster gets claymation. Right?
Yeah.
Claymation monster at the end, a stop motion figure.
Yeah.
Is that where they're like underground and there's like the UFO underground? They're running from it.
No,
the end of that movie's
that's,
kind of.
This is like
That's
in
just
a
the guy
closet.
Actually,
It's
they're
fine.
in the bottom. It's It's Wilford Brimley with diabetes. No.
Oh,
This is, Tate's not wrong that there is an underground smaller spaceship that Wilford Brimley is actually building.
Yeah.
Which brings me to another side point on that in a second. But yeah, they are. I think they're in the basement of this facility.
Yeah,
So they are definitely
it was like a
underground
pantry
or
type
something.
building. It was very small.
You know, and McReady, this is Kurt Russell's character. He throws a dynamite at him and just blows him up. But like the movie is, you have isolation. You have the I can't trust anyone. This is very reminiscent of a current game.
Yeah.
What's the game?
Among Us?
Yeah, Among
Yeah.
Us.
Like,
Because this
who's
thing
doing-
is among them, and you don't know who to trust. You can't trust anybody.
Because even
You're
the
trying
thing
to
is
come
like,
up with a
I'm this
test.
person,
It's totally making you think one person is the thing, and it's not.
Yeah.
And when it pops up, it just
just
Oh,
happens.
and not to mention, like, the whole, like, the one of the greatest scenes in that whole movie to me is when they realize what this thing's weakness is, which is fire, and they tie everybody up and start blood trialing people.
Yeah.
Greatest scene in the whole movie is when they actually become aware of the monster and what its weaknesses is, and then when they try to retaliate.
Self-preservation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
really self-preservation. And I think what really kicks it off on that for me was you got. I get what I've always called it is the dog tree. You know, after it's eaten all the dogs, but it's like built this like little.
It's like a cocoon in the corner and shooting tentacles all over.
Yeah.
It's the tentacle
like
parts are so gross.
it's like weird to say. It's like a flesh tree with
Yeah.
a dog head.
Yeah.
tentacles coming out. Everybody's just staring like,
What
what
the?
the hell is this?
If
Exactly.
you watch any of the making of and you go back and watch, like it takes pieces of all these things that it mutates into when it's not in a final form.
Oh,
and there's
God.
a
That's
place where
disgusting. That's the
it's
worst.
separating and coming apart, and you see almost what looks like a flower. All right, and if you slow that down and watch it, guys, that flower that opens up and like starts opening up, it's dog tongues and dog teeth is what
Yeah.
it's made of.
Yeah.
So it's amazing. Like there's so many amazing little things about these disgusting monsters that's in the thing. So
To
there's
this
some,
day, I still cannot watch that movie.
it's a
It
great
scarred
movie.
me as a
It's
child.
my favorite. There's even a fan fiction that's kind of on the funny side of the viewpoint from the thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, you just woke it up from sleep, and everything's trying to kill it, right? And like it's just trying to hide. And
Like, get away from me,
chasing
man!
it down and trying to kill it.
Leave me alone!
It's actually running from the humans, and just keeps killing them along the way. To
That
stay
is
alive.
So I'm
like,
telling
no.
you, is the real horror is humans.
Yeah, the humans.
I mean, that's one way to
No,
look at
fuck
it.
that. That thing needs to fucking die.
Thank you.
I
you,
think one of my
Cody.
favorite things in the
Hate that
is
movie.
that really dark joke where they go out to go check on Wilford Brimley's character.
Because he's locked in, like, the shack or
the
something
guy
by
in the ship,
himself,
and he's
right?
sitting there, and he's got a noose right
There's
here.
a noose behind.
Yeah, and he goes like,
I don't want to be out here.
I don't want to be out here anymore. And it's just like, that's a really dark joke.
That's so
it
great.
makes me laugh out every time.
As dark as it is, I'm like, Jesus.
Or,
Like-
or the way how they build upon it, where they go to the other base, the
Yeah,
Rangers base,
yeah.
and there's a thing with two people smushed
Oh,
together.
yeah, and they
Yeah.
bring that back with them, and
They're
they're still
like-
got active cells.
Yeah, it's like,
Look,
They didn't have to rely on like all the
CGI,
things. It was panned at the time. People
Yeah.
hated it.
Yeah.
It came out at the same time E.T. did, I think.
Yeah.
So it got
Well,
murdered in the box office.
if you have a really good did you know, did you care about that, there is, if you actually work at the Antarctic labs,
Uh-huh.
there's a moment where if you're the new guy there, they sit you down and everybody watches the thing.
Hell
And
no,
now
I
you-
am not.
and now you are stuck.
The
There
isolation
you go. That's all
of that
for you,
movie,
Coach.
You're taking a situation where people are totally based on trust and camaraderie, and then all of a sudden nobody can use that. And then the music sets the mood.
The music always
Great.
scares me. Like, if I hear something
Great
here.
John Carpenter.
Oh.
It's just, it's
It's
awesome.
actually a remake.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
I've
thing
actually
from
seen the old one.
the thing from outer space is the original in black
Yep.
and white.
I've seen that one, and it's actually pretty
Another
decent.
did you know, did you care? It's a remake.
Yeah.
I will say, like, I'm gonna cut the dagger sharp here.
Okay.
So we're categorizing the thing as a sci-fi horror movie, which when I was thinking of Event Horizon
I think
and
that
all
should be
those,
in space too. By the
like,
way. I'm agreeing with you.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if I can call the thing a sci-fi horror movie. Like, just because it's an alien, it doesn't have any sci-fi element other than the monster's an alien, and the monster could have been anything, and
Yeah.
I don't think that could be contingent as being a sci-fi horror movie.
Yeah, the fact that it landed from a spaceship is inconsequential. That's the same thing with that Night of the Creeps movie. It literally, other than the aliens launching that whatever to Earth, you really don't think anything else about it being sci-fi horror. And at the very end, like a spaceship floats over the cemetery like with a spotlight. And stuff, and you're like, oh yeah, there's that.
Because think about it. The Thing is like you cut the UFO scenes out of it and just be like, oh, there is a horrible monster in fucking Antarctica,
right.
And then it wouldn't be a sci-fi horror. So
I agree with you.
Yeah.
There's no disagreement with me. So if we're going by that definition, then Event Horizon is my sci-fi horror.
Right.
But I got to talk about The Thing. And
I love talking about The Thing.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm glad you shoehorned that in.
So do we talk about the prequel?
The pre-sequel?
Okay. Call The Thing, which is another Hollywood, I hate you for doing this. Stop calling the movie that came out the same title and confusing everybody. And then you have to go by like the date it came out.
I will say, the one thing I do like about that movie is
the ending.
It's hard to say spoiler because literally the ending is the beginning of the original. Is where they see the dog run off and they both jump in the helicopter. At least they ended it. How it carries on.
Okay.
So it's a very Rogue One, Star Wars: A New Hope moment.
Don't even get me started on fucking Rogue One.
Oh god.
I'm just
Shut up,
saying
Nate.
from continuation right into the next.
Yeah,
movie.
yeah.
It just
But
leads
I
right
want to know if
into.
they make a sequel. I gotta know if they find a new hope.
Would you shut up? Would you
No,
shut up?
save
I
that
swear
for
to God.
save that for the Star Wars podcast because that'll be a whole
Oh yeah,
show.
we're gonna
of
have
its
Star
own.
Wars more.
That's
Yeah.
gonna be another one for sure.
So I'll tell you this about the Thing sequel movie is I watched it. I haven't seen it in a while, but I've watched it several times in the years. I like that movie front to back. I think the CGI detracts from it, obviously. But knowing that people poured their heart and fucking soul into the practical effects, and then they got shit-horned by the fucking company execs that ruined that movie, it's like, I have so much respect for the people who did all that work to make this beautiful fucking movie.
Oh, yeah.
That's the
And then
unsung
it
hero
got
of horror
ruined.
movies. It's always the makeup guys.
So if you
Exactly.
don't know what Tate's talking about, this is something me and him talked about plenty of times, and you can look up the footage on YouTube of all these fantastic special effects that were made for
Practical.
They're practical effects. They didn't rely on CG at all. The studio execs hated it and made them go back and basically delete all this great, wonderful practical effects and hard work that you can look at on YouTube right now. And they just put CGI over everything. And it looks terrible. It dates the movie. It looks awful. It looks shoehorned in. And
You can
it really
tell
ruined what would have been a pretty darn good prequel.
Yeah, it would.
I would have loved.
So,
Honestly, I would have
The
loved to see
Thing
that.
prequel would have had the same effect as the original Thing. If they would have left the practical effects in, I can tell you, it would have bombed at the box office. But then, 5 years later, it would have been regarded as a cinema fucking masterpiece.
Oh, definitely, because
Yeah.
they kept to it was true. Well, it should have been the thing. And for the,
That was what made The Thing.
Exactly,
Awesome
was-
practical
I mean, have you
Exactly.
ever seen like the ending of the Thing prequel? How it's just like that weird fucking CGI whatever the fuck monster.
Yeah, it was like the Tetris monster.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then you look back at like this. They made like a full alien of like what the aliens look like.
That was the ship.
That was in the ship piloting it. They had this full animatronic, great, amazing like practical effect
Yeah.
alien. And then if you watch the movie, they literally CGI'd over it and just blanked it out. Like
Yeah,
it's
totally
in
like
the
that.
it's in the final scenes, and they just like blanked it out.
They put a big Tetris thing.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of blocks moving around.
Yeah.
that's all it was.
It
I
looks
was
like it's literally censored. That's
Yeah,
what it looks
they
like
just
with color.
censored it.
you can
yeah.
see the blurs
Yeah.
behind
Yeah.
it too.
Yeah.
That's what makes it worse.
And that makes me want to segue into this. The Thing is a movie that if you can kind of find the method, you can survive it.
Right.
But what would you say is a horror movie
Oh yeah, this is one of Nate's
that
awesome
is
categories.
survivable?
Ooh,
Wait,
Not the Predator.
Not the
No, that's
Predator.
not-
You're
it's not
ultra
really a
fucking
horror
dead.
movie either.
Jesus.
So the way I see it is, you got your horror movies that are survivable. You can find one that you can find a way to survive. If you really try to push, you can survive. And then you got the ones where you're just totally fucked. That's,
So
that's
we're,
it.
talking, we're talking two movies here. We're talking about one we think we can survive and one we think we can't.
Exactly, pretty much what I'm coming down to is like, what's the movie you think like I could power through it? I think I could do it all. I may be traumatized, but I'll be alive. And then you got the movies like, oh no, I'm dead. Fuck it, I'm just gonna. That's it.
Just
Gotcha.
bite the lead pill.
That's a great one.
man,
That's a tough one.
So
No prep work on this.
Yeah, I don't
Let's-
have
let's
anything
see.
either.
So let's go a
What
little
about
bit
you?
different.
You brought it up.
So the way how I always thought on it there is, with zombie movies, there is a level of survivability.
Sure.
You can find a way
Wanna live in that
to.
world.
You wouldn't want to live in it, but if you had to, you can survive. You find your spot. You can lock yourself away. You can find a way to start making food. You get your water going on that there, and hell, if you can get as far in there, you might even be able to kick the electricity back on.
So, surviving that zombie movie, I'm going to have to move somewhere I don't want to move, which is up in the mountains. I'm going to have to make a garden, but somehow that's going to survive the cold, and then I got to make this hard for a zombie to traverse, and pray they get eaten up by the cold or bears or something else. So,
God knows what. Hopefully.
I agree with you. A zombie movie, at least I would have some sort of plan.
Well, see, it depends on the fact, and what also kind of drives me crazy, it also depends on that wonderful type of zombie, because you have the Romero zombie, which kind of just keeps evolving a bit.
I'm gonna say the zombie movie. If I have to survive this thing, I definitely want to go with the fact that zombies, for the most part, are shambling dead.
They're just
shambling dead.
The way I see it is the zombie survival you can do is the Max Brooks zombie, the zombie survival guy, because they decay.
Yeah.
Eventually, to the point they're not even going to be an issue.
Right.
So you just have to wait it out.
You got to worry about
It
the
kind of
Romero.
happens in 20 days later.
Yeah,
Yes, it does.
Then you got the Romero zombies where they start getting a bit smarter. But if you can find a way, everybody has fun.
That's the least common.
Okay,
We're going with common elements. I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So this just popped in my head recently. A horror movie that I could never survive, that I don't think anybody could fucking survive, is Annihilation.
Oh yeah.
Annihilation, where it's like there's a big field and it's like combining
Awesome
everything.
Annihilation.
So
It's a Natalie Portman movie.
you can probably synopsis this better than me, but in Annihilation, there's basically there's these big fields that pop up, like these big kind of it's like a big force field kind of dome area, and when you cross into that, the deeper you get into this force field, the more your DNA gets like fucked up and merged with everything around it. And there's a scene in this movie where they're sitting in a house, and there's this horrid, like half bear, half human monstrosity that has like human voice and screams like a human, but the body of a bear, and its face is like half human and fucked up. It's got a skull hanging out of the shit of it. And it's like there's nothing you can do in Annihilation to survive that. Like your DNA is gonna get merged with like other people, and like monsters are gonna merge with other like animals, and like you're dead. There's absolutely nothing you can do to survive Annihilation.
Jesus, that's not too many already. My stomach don't feel so good all of a sudden.
So we had a similar conversation months back of like, if we had to take on ghosts, demons, or vampires, like what do you want to take on, that
Right.
kind of thing. And I think you're really screwed in a Hellraiser situation.
Oh my god!
Hellraiser definitely like there's no
Like, I don't
walking
think I
away.
can survive
Yeah,
that.
I mean,
You're not walking away
the
from
only
this.
way to survive Hellraiser is just like you go full in. Like you're gonna become a Cenobite. That's the only way you survive. You just become a
That's not
Cenobite.
really even survival.
I mean, you're not dead.
But
Are you not dead?
I mean, you're undead.
You're submitting to the pleasure of the pain.
Yeah, so you're not like because in Hellraiser he kills tons of people, but if you like submit to the Cenobites, you come back as a Cenobite. So that kind of feels like
But
surviving.
the question is, are you actually even alive? Like Mike had said, are you even alive to begin with after you become a Cenobite?
I mean, Pinhead seems like he's enjoying
I
his
just
job.
don't think I would survive it. I don't know that this
Like,
is
okay,
a
so-
level of survival. I don't want to die and become a Cenobite. So
Yeah.
Well, you don't
Exactly. I don't want
die
that.
in
whatever.
per
I don't
se.
want to live the
Okay,
pleasure of
Here,
hell,
like I
right?
don't want to be alive in here and become this thing,
So,
you know?
so my two, I don't think I can survive Hellraiser because it just seems like he's going to get you.
Regardless, you know, that's it.
Don't
I
fuck
think
with
I
the
can
puzzle bite.
easily survive in Friday the 13th.
Easily, so you.
I would get in the car and leave Crystal Lake. I would just leave.
But if
Don't go to
he,
New York.
I'm not go to New York. I'm not going to go to space, okay?
Yeah, there you go. Don't go to space.
I
Don't
will
go to New
literally
York.
stay in Texas and worry about Leatherface and never have to worry about Jason. Never. Jason Goes to Texas is never getting made.
Way too many guns down here.
Yeah,
don't say that too loud. Don't say it too many times because they're gonna start getting that
Same
idea.
thing with Michael Myers. As long as you don't go to Haddonfield, and he ain't never left, by the way.
Oh, yeah, he's been there
That's because
forever.
he's in an asylum in
You're
Haddonfield.
you're
not
fucking
wrong.
dumb.
I will admit, yeah, I will give you that.
If everyone would just box off Haddonfield and leave, no one else dies.
Yeah,
right?
just
What
Army
about
of the
the
Dead.
people in
Haddonfield.
Don't
Haddonfield?
that shit like a nuclear leak happened, and you're done.
Okay, so you want to Raccoon City that place then? You just want to like just drop a nuke and destroy it.
Yeah.
You don't even have to do that because he ain't going nowhere but his house anyway.
Yeah, he lives there. Like he don't do
lives
shit.
there. Just move off the street. I bet you could make it if you.
But
just
what if he
left the
kills
street.
everybody else in the
He's
Haddonfield?
not going. He just wants to. He kills people on the way back to the house every time, right? He always ends up in the house. Every one of those movies ends in the freaking house, whatever the address is. I can survive that movie simply by getting in a car.
Yeah, you're like, oh, this is
I'm
like.
just saying. I'm
So what you're
answering the
saying
question.
is you're sitting in Haddonfield.
No, I'm not. I'm leaving.
No.
I'm leaving. I'm
You
leaving.
missed the point where I left.
No, that's
Did
what
you
I'm
not
saying.
hear him?
You're taking a trip. You're picking up the game.
He don't even kill that many people in the daytime, by the way. I will leave first thing in the morning, and I'm gone.
Well, what if he's out of his
Michael
car?
Myers has escaped. Well, I guess it's time for me to go. You know, why did I move here anyway? I'm an idiot. You know, like, I'm leaving.
You're just traveling. Stop.
Stop for the
In
night.
Haddonfield.
And also,
You just have to make a pit stop.
No, first of all, if I see Haddonfield, this exit, I'm not taking the exit.
So what you're telling me is you're not even getting into the situation.
Even what I'm saying, okay, I get dropped into Halloween the movie to survive based on what you're saying. I instantly drop my keys into the ignition and drop my foot on the gas and leave the fuck out of that movie. You're done. Nobody gets killed in whatever the neighboring city. The neighboring city to Haddonfield, nobody knows the name of it. All right.
I can't help you on that one
Someone's
either.
gonna write that in the comments.
Someone's-
Oh, it's such and such.
The trivia is: did you know? Did you care?
What's the city next to Haddonfield that no one ever died in? That's where I'm going to drive.
Well, you know they're gonna comment like, well, which one? Do you want north, east, south, west?
Because it's not Haddonfield, and that's the only place he goes. So
Fair
I'm just
enough.
saying, he ain't never went to space. I was saying Jason just because I know the 3 locations he's been: Crystal Lake, Manhattan, and space.
But remember, he
Michael
travels by
Myers
fog.
is even better because he literally
He just stays where he's at. That's fair. That's fair.
That's my surviving one, and I don't think I could survive Hellraiser because that's like he just walks out of a closet. He's literally the Monsters Inc. of.
Oh my God.
Like he just walks right out of the
So
closet.
tell me, if you're in bed, door opens, pinhead, and you're like, fucking.
I'm screwed. What am I gonna do?
Like, what can you do in a situation? You know,
Pray. He'll laugh at me and stuff. He's got
Yeah.
all that worked out.
Hillary's gonna call you out like, "Oh, you're praying. Go ahead and keep praying."
He'll mount you in an arcade machine.
Yeah, I'm dead. I'm dead.
That's
I'm
it.
Dead. I'm chains are coming out of places they're not supposed to. Sticking in places they're not supposed to. I can survive Hellraiser. I can survive Halloween. Oh, hey, by the way, Halloween, he only kills on one night of the year. I can literally live in Haddonfield,
So,
leave
the day before?
I leave on October the 30th and come back November 1st. And all I have to do is like, oh man, looks like the neighbor's dead.
So,
What a dummy. He
so you-
stayed. Like, hurricanes are coming. You
So-
just leave town while the hurricanes
On October 30th, 11:59, you're gonna leave.
Hey, new point. If you live in Haddonfield, you can just leave on the 30th and come back November 1st. Because he only kills on Halloween anyway.
There's never been a Halloween. Wait, you know what? Hold on. No, I got it. But I feel like he's killed on the 30th and the 31st, so maybe just skip the end of that month and come
in-
back.
in the first Halloween.
Yeah.
If I even lived in Haddonfield,
Why the
I
fuck?
wouldn't.
You know, look, okay. So
Fair
He's
enough.
literally been murdering people there for 30 years. 40.
the fact that they even like let people live there is just like
It's still astonishing at
They
this
keep
point.
closing Crystal Lake at least.
You'd figure,
Like,
yeah.
the people go there.
Oh, they
asking
renamed
for
it. Don't forget that. They did.
Oh, they're so
Blood, Camp Blood.
yeah, camp. You're gonna fucking die.
Camp Blood.
they renamed it so they can bring the kids back to camp and have fun
Anyway,
again.
so Hellraiser I can't get away from. Halloween, I'm changing it to Halloween because it's even funnier. I can totally escape Michael Myers. No, he doesn't even run. All right, if I see him, I'm like, I'm just stepping on the gas.
Dude, he
Come on.
look. He can't even drive.
Yes,
like,
he can drive.
wait,
Yes,
yes,
wait, he
First one,
what?
totally drives.
Does he really?
Yeah, he steals the.
He
that's
steals the
how
van.
He gets to Haddonfield.
But he
was
drove-
not in Haddonfield.
Wait,
and
wait.
he goes to Haddonfield.
Wait,
He's
hold
in an
on.
insane asylum.
He's in this
Hold
house.
on, I have totally blanked this out from my memory. How does a kid who like went to an insane asylum when he was like 10 know how to drive a car?
Jail, bro.
Yeah.
To drive a car? Usually you learn how to sell drugs.
Jail, so I'm just saying.
Yo, your man pulled teeth out. You know, how do you know? You just okay. You know, I think at this point you
He's
might as well.
possessed, but he only goes to Haddonfield.
Man,
Let's face
in
it.
the
Where is
great
it? Yeah, that's
in the
true.
great
Michael Myers in Texas, never gonna happen.
Never.
look, in the great words of Cat Williams, man, fuck Michael.
Yeah, I'm out. I'm out.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
How about you, Rod? What can you survive? What can you not?
Okay, so I will agree. With
Don't
you.
get on a spaceship.
I am
ever.
staying with. I am not getting
SpaceX, never get on a SpaceX.
I am never getting. I'm not
Totally
gonna.
screwed in the thing. There's a lot of them I wouldn't survive.
Oh yeah, no.
I feel like the thing is like I think you have more of a chance to survive the thing than you do Annihilation or Hellraiser by a large margin.
Crazy stuff in that, though.
I'd rather freeze to death and get turn into a thing or try to
Anyway,
light.
go, Rob.
Anyway,
I'm sorry.
no, you're good, man. You're good. So I will agree with you. The one I know for sure can survive be Michael. Halloween because obviously one day a year. Like I said, I can just leave the 30th, come back November 1st. But the one I know I cannot survive. We didn't talk about this. This is me just tossing it in there. Is the Mouth of Madness.
Ooh,
Never. I don't know anything about that.
It's cosmic horror too. Really
It's a cosmic, yeah.
And it's Sam Neill. Like,
It's another Sam Neill film. So this movie, Mouth of Madness, it was a Stephen King movie from what I remembered. I don't think it was. I could be wrong. It's not Stephen King. Okay.
Sutter Kane is the.
Sutter Kane. Okay, that's what I thought.
Stephen King ain't. To quote the movie poorly, quote the movie is. Stephen King ain't got nothing on Sutter Kane apparently in this movie world.
And this one definitely, because when I first saw it, I thought it was Stephen King at first, but
It is a John Carpenter movie, though.
but thank you for correcting me on that one.
That's what it says.
And
Oh,
he's
yeah.
the master of war.
Oh yeah. Because a little quick synopsis about this one. Sam Neill plays he's like an
Insurance company.
yeah an insurance collector, some insurance guy, and he has to go to this town in I think it was like a small Rhode Island area. Yeah, this is the one. Yeah, and small town, and I remember watching this a long time ago when I was a kid.
It's a scary movie.
Terribly scary for me. Like this was on par with The Thing for me, because he meets the author of this book, and apparently the city that he goes to find this guy is all written in the book that he's writing, which turns out he's writing for the Elder Gods, which is why.
Oh, yeah, this is totally like straight up Cthulhu shit.
Yeah. And so apparently the books he's been writing make people go batshit insane.
That's the crazy part. You read the books and you go insane.
Oh yeah.
Just like if you looked at an Elder God, you
Yeah,
go insane.
yeah.
You can't.
And so he's literally writing these books for them, and like nothing people go insane. And so it's like it gets to a point where,
So is this an H.P. Lovecraft movie?
it's very Lovecraftian because
It's a Lovecraftian-esque for sure.
it really is.
A remake of some old H.P. Lovecraft stuff.
Honestly, I can't say for sure.
I mean, it's a great movie.
Oh yeah, because it tripped me out a lot because there's some scenes where, he goes to the inn, the old lady, she's a nice old lady, but then you know what I'm talking about.
So this is just like
Yeah.
fun fact. This is the third installment, formerly named by John Carpenter as the Apocalypse trilogy, which
Yeah.
involves The Thing, Prince of Darkness, and Mouth of Madness.
Yeah, because in this one, the author, like, one of the biggest things that tripped me out was he finishes his book, and there's like a wooden door, but this door is not.
breathing.
Yeah, it's like just
Rubber breathing?
rubber
Yeah.
pulsating, gooey door. And he's like, I can't hold him back much longer. And next thing you know, he just tears his face. But it's not like limbs. It's just pages.
Like tearing pages of a book.
Yeah, he just becomes like he just
You didn't like this movie.
I gotta watch this movie right
definitely.
now.
You definitely have to watch this because it's like
So you can't survive this.
there's
Because
no-
it's another concept. Any movie where you can't understand the concept of the horror that you are experiencing,
Yeah.
that's why
Yeah.
Hellraiser for me. Like, I don't understand the concept
exactly.
of the horror. I'm
There's no
experiencing.
getting around it.
So you can't create a plan for it.
exactly because
Yeah, what the fuck plan are you gonna as far as cosmic horror? Cthulhu comes down to Earth. What the
Nothing.
fuck are you gonna do? You're dead.
because like.
You are Cthulhu's bitch now.
Yeah, because in this movie, it's like, what's reality? He goes to this town, but apparently this town is science fiction. It's in this book. Like, this lady, she's reading the book. Yeah, like, blah, blah, blah. Sam Neill and her are in the apartment. They're in the hotel. They look out the window, and there's a church. Like, he's like, you're making this shit up. Opens the window. See, it's a fucking factory. Look this way. Well, whatever. It's cool.
Everything's
Like-
changing around him because of
Yeah,
the story.
and he tries to drive out. He's leaving, but just comes back every time.
Yeah,
every time.
He can't escape it.
And then finally, he's like, take this hundo,
He's
and you're
in
going to go back
the mouth
home.
of madness.
Literally.
He's in
Exactly.
the mouth of it.
And and he's all like, and
so-
batshit insane,
So, to Nate's point, what can you survive? What movie?
So in this one, like I said, I will agree with you on this one. Halloween, obviously, I'm
Yeah, just leave. Open quote, just leave, close
And
quote.
by the way, this is Joe's favorite slasher, by the way. I know.
I know. Concept-wise, it's the greatest, but survivability, you really can't argue with that. You really can't argue with that statement because it's like you said.
Well, half the time he's locked up in
He's-
insane asylum.
he's-
He's not out there.
And see, the worst part is he can leave whenever, but like you said,
He
he
can't leave it.
you don't know that,
He
Mike.
doesn't have the keys to that, Mike.
Look, I'm gonna hype up my boy Michael only because
I don't know. I mean, he did kill Danny Trejo.
He's a hard motherfucker to kill.
That was the one of the remakes.
yeah, was it the
He was like a security guard or some shit.
Okay, Mike. He wasn't machete. Okay, if he was machete, what?
Okay, so
Have
have it, yeah.
Survive, non-survive.
Well, definitely I'm not surviving Annihilation. Like, period. Nobody survives that shit. You're
Well,
dead.
sure you can. You just don't
No,
know the field.
no, because but the field is
It's growing.
the field's expanding, so eventually you're fucking dead. There's nothing you
will
can
it
do.
cover
You die of
eventually?
old age before it gets around.
I'll
Exactly.
fucking kill myself before the
how fast-
Annihilation Dome comes there, so
Well,
I
how
ain't
fast
surviving
is
it
is
either
like
way.
expanding,
I would
like,
say
you
just
know.
go to space.
Look, I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit if the Annihilation Dome is expanding 1 centimeter per year. Everybody's gonna die eventually.
Well, okay, well, does it go underground? Because you just go underground.
No, I think you're fucked if you go underground
No,
too.
no, yeah.
It's definitely a sphere.
Okay, fair
Yeah.
enough, fair enough.
It's all.
So that's definitely like I'm not surviving
So we're
that.
surviving.
That's a tough one because when I think of horror movies, I think of shit that you're never gonna survive. I'm gonna name drop this again because it's one of my favorite movies. I think you could survive Terrifier
You think
easily.
You can survive Terrifier?
I think you could survive Terrifier because,
Fair
like, look. So I'll just give you like the first intro of the movie. You and your drunk friend are out partying. You see a creepy ass fucking mime in a diner, and you fucking leave.
That's fair.
I don't look because she gets in her car and all her tires are slashed. I've driven a car with no fucking tires. That bitch will make it a long fucking
You
way.
can make it at least. You can at least get a couple,
Yeah.
a couple
You-
hundred miles.
I don't look. You can drive a long time on rims if your life depends on it. So
Just don't gas it, right?
yeah. So as far as like surviving a horror movie, you can survive Terrifier. You see a creepy ass fucking mime. You're drunk in a car with your friend. Oh, all my tires are slashed. I saw a creepy ass mime. Fuck it. I don't give a shit. We're going.
Let's
I
go
don't-
party, man. Let's have some more of the alcohol to drink. I'm
Yeah.
not drunk enough for this.
Well, the good thing is you eventually get stopped by the cops, picked up by the cops, and taken away from them.
And you're still safe.
But what if the cops go? What if it's like the local cops in that area and they take you back to the?
No,
to the
No, they're not gonna
They're
fucking
gonna
do
get
that.
you. They're gonna get you to jail real fucking quick.
So
hope
I'm
you're safe
gonna
in jail.
I'm gonna throw a super fucking wrench in that, and I want to propose my own category
I love
for a
it.
horror
Okay,
movie.
I'm listening.
So, best horror movie game based on a video game franchise. Best horror movie based on a video game
Okay.
franchise.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair
Yeah,
enough.
yeah.
Fair enough. Ooh, that's. I can't really think of.
I got you.
Anything based on anything.
It's-
usually blows.
It doesn't end
Video
well.
game movies suck in general.
Okay, I can argue with that on that, but
So,
That's not. Shut up.
I don't want to go.
Shut up,
this
Cody.
is
Shut
a
up.
great. This is a great topic.
We're not talking to
They
you anymore.
haven't made a game.
You got Pete, that guy over
They
there.
made a movie for Dead Space yet.
Sit in your corner.
You don't get to have movies that are
Cartoon
hypothetical.
movies are really pretty good for Dead Space.
Okay, you
we
can use that if
classify
you
it
want. I'll go first. I'll give you all time to think about it.
Yeah.
I
So.
disagree with you.
Yeah. So my favorite horror movie based on a video game franchise, it's kind of a tie, but I'm going to lean with what I feel like. I love the Silent Hill horror movies.
The first one, I will admit, it did a good
first
job
one was
setting.
good.
It
Now,
did set the mood.
You want
I
to
will
talk
admit.
about, okay, so Silent Hill, the video game, amazing atmospheric horror.
Oh, that's
You're
still scares me.
totally defenseless atmospheric horror. You're so fucked. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
The-
you're no longer on the plane of
yeah,
existence.
yeah, you know,
Yeah.
you're
Now in your own
you were
literal personal hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what they did in the movie where they conveyed that like sense of isolation and you have no fucking way out in the atmosphere of the
Yeah.
original Silent Hill movie, it conveyed the video game perfectly in my eyes. Like
it did.
It was
The first
like
one, at least.
it's like so you drive into a town, right? And you're like, "Oh, I'm looking for somebody or some shit." They ran off. And then you're like, "Okay, I'm going to leave." And every time you leave, you just end up back in the fucking town and you have
Yeah.
no choice but to like try to traverse the town and figure out what the fuck's going on.
Right.
The video games do that perfectly. The movie does that perfectly, and it's like it's the same thing as like the fog. It's
Yeah.
the same thing as like the fog, where it's like there's nothing you can fucking do. You're now in this world, and now you're a part of it, and the sense of dread you get from being so disconnected from literally fucking everything.
Yeah.
You kind of have to restart your whole life based on the rules of this like dimension you're trapped in.
Yeah.
And I think the movie just conveys that perfectly.
That one, I will admit, the first one did a great job. I will admit. I will agree with you on that one.
Roger, go.
The other ones, not so much.
Somebody say Resident Evil.
Well, because here's the thing.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'd have to agree with Roger on this one because you have the live action movies, which was just.
But see, the thing is, which would you want to classify? Do you want to do the CG Resident Evil movies, or do you want to do...
Yeah, whatever you want. Yeah, open category. As long as it's a movie based.
Yeah.
Yeah, as
Fair
long
enough,
as it's
fair
something you watch and not play, and it's based on a video game. You're
Okay.
good.
CG Resident Evil.
Well, because here's the thing.
Which one though?
So the first, live action did a good job, setting the, the mood, with the whole new character. The rest, we're not gonna talk about
To
it.
be fair,
To be fair,
Part 2 did have a lot of pandering for fans.
they
They gave us
that's all.
Jill. They gave us
That's why the first one it was a good job setting the mood. But honestly,
We're talking about Resident Evil, by the way.
yeah, with Alice, which once again, that's a tangent for
Great
another
movie.
time. But right.
Resident Evil.
But honestly, I would say the CG, like, damnation, degradation, this and that, those Vendetta, those, in my opinion, were probably the better parts as far as video game horror movies as goes. Because it stayed true to what Resident Evil was. The virus was, zombies, this and that.
They were trapped in a one fucking facility.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the only thing they had was just the gun in their hands and then maybe all 6 mags. Maybe will they get far? Probably. But they just had to, figure out the wits and what they had on hand. That was it.
Are we talking about a cartoon or are we talking about
This is the live action movie.
live action movie?
Yeah.
So-
Where she's like wearing a
That's your
dress.
favorite?
Well, my favorite one is going to be Damnation, for sure.
Is this a cartoon?
Yeah, it's CG.
Yeah.
It's a CG Resident
Yeah.
Evil.
So a cartoon?
Yeah.
Okay, Mike. All right, Mike.
That's a
Cartoon.
whole other podcast argument of
Look,
what's considered
So
a
it's a
cartoon.
cartoon.
It's a cartoon. Okay, Mike. We're gonna have to sit down for this one. Where's my whiteboard? But so far, Damnation will probably be my favorite one as far as that goes. Definitely check it out. The CG ones are a lot better, in my opinion. Don't watch the
How about
Netflix.
you, Nate?
I mean, I agree with Roger on that completely. I mean, you got the first 2 Resident Evil movies, which are pretty alright. At least the first one, it has no pandering. The second one, it had its major fan pandering.
They just focus on the pandering. They
But
didn't
the
even bother.
CG ones definitely keep up because you're getting direct characters, you're getting the voice actors, you're getting everything Resident Evil put into it there. But that's the thing about when you get the CG movies is that you have like I was just saying earlier about the Dead Space. As you got the movies for the Dead Space, that are the animated ones.
Which are fucking amazing, by the
But,
way.
but there's not a live action one just yet.
But they're cartoons, right?
There's no, there could be one. But it's like trying to say that Doom was probably the best video game movie over anything else.
Man, I think Doom went hard as fuck. So it's great that you bring up Doom as far as like a video game movie. So when I went into that movie watching it, being such a Doom fanatic as I was, when I went into that movie like totally fucking blind as a kid, I was with it kind of the whole movie, and it was great, it was a movie, whatever. But the part that sold that fucking movie for me was about 3/4 of the way in when it switches to first person.
Yeah.
And he just starts fucking killing the pinkies and all that fucking shit through the rest of the movie. That just sold the whole movie for me when it switched to first person.
Yeah, this is a tough one.
That had The Rock in it, didn't it?
Yeah, it was The Rock. Yeah.
And The Rock wasn't even the main
Carl
character.
Urban.
He wasn't even the main character.
No,
Which was
he was
even
a-
great.
Carl Urban was, yeah.
And
Who also
it's
did a
not-
really good Judge Dredd. But that's again
man,
another
that's great.
whole other podcast.
This is another
Save that for
discussion
that
time.
I like Judge Dredd in all of these movies. Even one of them. Even the Stallone one. No, this is a tough one for me just because I don't feel like I've seen enough horror movies that are based on video games. But of the video games, the survival horror ones you named, like Silent Hill or Resident Evil, I really enjoyed those games immensely more than I enjoyed the movies. So,
Oh, definitely,
Yeah.
so
definitely.
that
Yeah.
movies felt like a letdown. I would say the
Oh,
Resident
yeah.
Evil, obviously that franchise
That's
is
the
more
unfortunate
successful.
thing
That's-
about video game
yeah.
movies.
Yeah,
That's
it's
only
the same
downside.
thing as, like if you read the book before you saw the movie and you had what you created in your mind better than
Yeah, it's
what
like-
you
Yeah.
put on there.
Oh
So-
yeah, it's a cliche that the book was better than the movie.
It's like you and Dr. Sleep. You've read Dr. Sleep and you've seen the
Yeah,
movie, so it's
yeah.
like totally the same
And a
thing.
quick
Yeah.
spoiler for next podcast, we will be talking about the Cowboy Bebop live action
show, so we will bring that up.
Okay, I'm in.
Yeah, y'all can definitely do that one. I haven't seen either. But
I guess we're gonna come back
Better watch
here.
Cowboy Bebop for the next podcast.
Oh, gosh, I got some homework
Wait,
to do.
you gonna make them watch the
Yeah,
live
so
action
I really,
or?
to answer that question, I really don't have one. I would imagine I really enjoyed the Resident Evil one, alright, just because it had liquors and
Yeah.
it did have the scene where everybody gets diced in the hallway by the lasers.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
great
Rad.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listening to the content.
Well,
as
but
much
it's
as I
funny
wanted to.
because they did that didn't happen in any of the games.
Sure. No.
Up until 4, and that's when that was a reference
Yeah.
to the movie because you get the QuickTime event where it's Leon against the
Yeah.
He's hopping
And
like
you get to see what happens to somebody who's a little bit more plot armored fight those almost
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get to see someone actually survive the laser room.
definitely hands down. Like that was a little cheesy for me, but yeah, with Mila's out Resident Evil, the first one was great. The second one, like the rest of them, like man,
I like them all, just not equally.
There you go.
Well, at least one of us does. Somebody does.
Nate, how long is the podcast going to be?
We're at 2 hours right now.
Wow, that time has really flown in
So,
here.
if we got,
You want to wind it down?
we can start winding it down. We've pretty much. I've gone through my list.
Okay.
I don't know how far you've gone through your list.
I mean, if you got anything,
My
Let's
list
talk
is complete.
about
We didn't get icons. We started talking about people who started with like a Crypt Keeper and Elvira.
Yeah.
We didn't get too far in that.
Horror Host.
Horror Host.
Yeah. Oh,
Horror
God.
Host is great. I love Elvira. I mean, for
She's
for two
classic.
reasons I can think of immediately.
Obviously.
She's great.
Totally great, Nice hair.
Lovely lady, and she was in Pee Wee. She was in the Pee Wee Herman movie. Pee Wee
She
Adventure.
Yeah, she was.
played the biker.
Wasn't Lawrence Fishburne also in that movie?
He was also part of the series because he was Cowboy Curtis. It was also written by Rob Zombie. But that's Pee Wee's Playhouse. That's the weird thing, and that's a whole other podcast, I'm sure.
That's a can of worms right there. We need to open just
I
yet.
agree. I do like it, but I grew up with my dad got me into his Crypt Keeper.
Crypt Keeper's great.
Tales from the Crypt.
He's funny.
And it's the whole thing is
Comical.
he's obviously a skeleton. You've got the arcade machine for it on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of plug in
Oh,
a
yeah.
little more, but it's the fact of he's funny. He's hilarious. He's making terrible puns.
Well, see, Elvira, if you watched originally, there was an Elvira Mistress of Dark movie, which is comical and fun.
Yeah.
There's also, she was a horror host of what's called Movie Macabre. This used to come on Channel
Yeah.
21 in this
Yeah.
area.
The virus movie macabre.
And
Yeah.
basically, she would cut into the movie when they were doing dumb shit in the movie, and she would
Yeah.
make fun of it. And her
Oh, yeah.
Valley Girl accent was great. So she was my all-time
Very
favorite.
Mystery Science Theater.
Very.
Yeah, very much.
Now you just hear her pause. Here she comes in, He's like, I thought.
So I don't have any kind of input as far as like movie host because that was like before my time by a large degree, like 20 years. But I will tell you, as far as like Elvira, even for me, stands out as a horror movie host, and I've even seen a lot of the Elvira Mystery Macabre on TV or on YouTube. So if any of them, it's definitely Elvira for me, just because she's such a staple in the industry.
Oh, yeah.
There's no way.
Hands
If
down.
you're into horror movies, you're not going to get out without knowing who
One of my
Elvira is.
favorite jokes from her movie on that is where she gets knocked over.
Oh,
And the guy goes to help her, and he goes, "Are you okay? How's your head?" She goes, "Oh, no complaints yet."
Yeah.
Great line.
She was just overly sexy.
I love
keep it together, Mike.
She's overly sexy.
Yeah.
She's hilarious. She's got some good ones.
She's still beautiful. She's
Very.
in her 70s, I think.
She's
And she
still
looks
doing
good.
good.
She's still
got a YouTube
great.
channel, too, still going.
Yeah.
So she's still doing things.
There's another great part in that movie where she tries to make a casserole dish for the locals.
Oh.
Blood potion in it or something.
Yeah, I remember
And she
that one.
makes it wrong, and all the old people get all horny and horny up on each other. It's so funny. What is this?
Old people are nasty.
Great other horror hosts to mention. Sven Gooley, he has a Saturday night show right now even.
Really?
Yeah, it's a little cheesy for me, but it's pretty good.
Right.
People are going to hate me for that, I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry, man. Own that shit.
Own it. Let's do it. Joe Bob Briggs was great for TNT Monster Vision. Okay.
Oh,
So,
yeah. Okay.
What
Yeah,
Joe
man.
Bob Briggs was funny because he was stuck with these TNT edited horror movies on Saturday nights or whatever, and he would well, they cut this out and they cut that out. Like he'd tell you all the stuff we cut out, and I don't know, it was great. So I like that too. Anyway, that's horror host. You want to end it with what's your top 5, man?
Horror movies on that there, I think. My top 5, it's kind of hard to say because you got those, a lot of people top 5 is, with their top numbers and all that there. But I've always liked, The Thing's always been number 1. That movie still freaks me.
Wow.
Still freaks me out to this day. And when I watch it, I was like, I love this movie. But then after a little while, I'm just like, I go to sleep.
Who needs sleep? I don't need to go to bed.
I don't need sleep. And then, you start getting into, I guess, it's hard to say on that because I have to really, really kind of tie on anything between Nightmare and Halloween because I just loved them so much. I grew up so much with that there. I had to have the whole, my parents sitting down was like, it's not real.
Oh, God.
Freddy Krueger's played by this guy named Rob England. He's not an actual crazy thing.
He's not an evil man. He's just an actor.
So I got the tie between those two on that. So I'm going to consider him a part of my top list on that. And then, of course, there was and I don't know if I can really fully consider it on right there, but I do, because it's a zombie movie, I do love my Of the Dead series in general.
Oh, sure.
Anything with Romero's zombies is always entertaining. And the Zack Snyder version is really good. And that kind of takes up my last couple of spots. Kind of a bit of a cop out, but it's just they're all just so great movies to me. That's what when it came up, it was brilliant. You know, then you got Shaun of the Dead that popped down. That's definitely I consider that part of the Other Dead series, even if it's not Romero.
It's a good one, I will admit.
So, mine, very honorable mentions here. Halloween, just because I love watching it every year.
Oh, yeah,
on
definitely.
Halloween, if I can. I think that's great. Scream, just because it revitalized the genre after it kind of died. It revitalized it in, I think, 96. And this is a weird thing, folks. If you don't know this, there was like no horror movies for a while. Like
there was a
90s,
dry period.
Yeah.
The horror movies just went away.
Like there was a decade of no good horror movies.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, the 90s were very colorful, and everything was Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network growing up. So.
It was all of a sudden Scream. It was like, okay, now horror movies are back.
Yeah.
I know what you did last summer, and then blah, blah, blah.
That was another good one.
Here we go. We're done.
Oh, God.
Everything's a horror movie.
I remember last summer.
Now we can't go a year without a new horror movie.
Return. You can't go a month.
Right? There's always something
They're
popping
the
up.
cheapest movies to make, folks. That's why we get so many of them. And Hollywood's pumping them out now.
Right.
Return of the Living Dead with the Tarman and everything. Those are my honorable mentions. I love those. Evil Dead 2 is my top 5.
That's not a good one. Definitely.
Can't talk nothing about Ash and the Necronomicon and
Man,
all that.
I should have brought that up as survivability. That should
Look,
have been my
Evil Dead could
survivability.
be a whole podcast in
Yeah, I'm
itself.
telling you,
Dude.
I love, and it almost didn't get in here, folks, but I'm mentioning it now.
We'll definitely bring it up
Evil
next
Dead
time.
2,
Army of
It's
Darkness.
funny.
Army of
Army of
Darkness,
Darkness is crazy.
Dude, I love the Evil Dead.
But I love Evil Dead 2 just because it's isolation. It's hilarious. He's going insane. He has to cut off his hand.
I'll
That's all.
swallow
It
your
doesn't-
soul.
That's not the serious, this movie is serious because now there's all of a sudden, rape because of the
tree.
Yeah, the tree.
The
rape.
tree.
Yeah,
Tree
tree
rapes.
rape.
Folks, there's everything you like. There's tree rope. There's chainsaw hand. There's
Dismemberment,
It's
just
crazy.
that's a bunch
12
of
gauge Joe Bell Remington.
We
Yeah.
just murdered our girlfriend.
Yeah, so I love that movie. I love the possession, the artwork, everything. There's so much good.
Sam Raimi, man.
Sam Raimi.
Man, who
Bruce
made-
Campbell, man, the icon.
Dude,
I love
you
Bruce
cannot
Campbell.
go. You cannot.
I love
think
the
of
Ash
it.
vs. Evil Dead series. If anyone's seen that on
That's a
Stars,
good-
that was great.
That was a hilarious show.
And then just to rifle off my last story, we've talked about it. Fright Night. I love that movie as a kid. I still think it's a great movie from start to finish. Nightmare 3, just because it was my favorite Freddy movie and he was my favorite slasher. Lost Boys. Great, funny, timely, spin on vampires. It was just awesome. And then that whole California punk setting was great. Or Santa Clara,
Right.
the murder capital of the world. And then The Thing being my number one, which I can't believe that's your number one too. That's crazy. So, anyway, Tate, you got a top 5?
Man, so I got a top 5. I have nothing written down off the top of my head. So I want to do a top 5, but this isn't in any kind of order of like which one I like more than the other. But as far as like 5 horror movies I will watch forever until I die, ever. So Event Horizon's up there. I love that movie. I'll watch it forever.
Definitely.
Amazing movie.
Kind of timeless too.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
It can't date itself because it's in the future.
yeah, that movie is just like great.
Right.
Definitely got to go with Pandorum. Pandorum really just struck a chord with me as far as like the isolation and the twist at the end and like dealing with like what's going on and the monsters in it. I'm not spoiling anything. Go watch Pandorum. That's my number 2. So number 3 favorite horror movie is I got to go with the Dawn of the Dead remake from like 04
It's so
or whatever.
That
That movie really like solidified like what got me into like horror movies for sure as a kid. Yeah, when that movie came out, it just like it got me into it. Man, it's rough.
Zombies running that movie.
Yes, they
they
do.
everywhere.
Yeah, top 5 is hard for me, but I got to throw Evil Dead 2 in there just because I have the Evil Dead 1 and 2 collector's editions that my
Dude,
brother
it's
got
such a
for me.
classic. You can't go wrong with that one.
My brother hunted for those for like ever and found them at like a movie trading company or something. So I'm, yeah, it's so amazing right there. What's that, number 4 or number 3?
That sounds like your top 1.
Yeah, it's in there. Anyway, I'll give you 2 more.
2 more.
So 2 more. I'm gonna go with a B horror movie called The Stuff. which is a movie
Yeah.
that the stuff. I'm so infatuated with the stuff.
I did
It's
not know it was
great.
a real movie.
I
favorite movie.
love the premise. I love the fact that a random farmer found some mystery cream cheese in his backyard, and then it got everybody
Let's eat it.
addicted.
Let's just put it in our
Yeah,
mouth.
and then they all immediately got addicted, turned to zombies. Number 5 spot. I'm gonna mention Event Horizon just as an honorable mention. If I didn't put that as number
Oh, that
one,
was your first.
yeah. Anyway,
yeah, you mentioned it.
I'm doubling up on Event Horizon. But
Fair enough, man. Fair
number
enough.
5, and this may be one of my favorite horror movies. We're going with Terrifier with Art the Clown.
That's scary.
Terrifier is just the most awful, horrible fucking person of all
The
time.
scene that we can't. I mean, the spoiler alert. I don't know even how to.
Look,
explain it.
okay,
It's
look, I'm not
horrible.
going to say anything, but Terrifier made me feel in a way that I didn't know I could feel about watching a horror movie, and it is absolutely fucking disgusting.
Damn.
It's rough.
Honorable mentions, obviously, The Thing. I love The Thing a lot. Another...
Watch the thing, folks.
Yeah, everybody watch The Thing. Both the things, fuck it, watch both of them. I don't care.
At least, you know, watch the
I'm
first
not the
one. Watch the
police.
original one.
Yeah.
Hey,
No.
Roger, you want to watch the thing?
You can just eat my ass and shut
So
up.
another honorable mention that nobody's talked about this entire time is I fucking love the original Saw movie.
Oh, the song.
I'm,
that's right.
I'm big into like body horror. I love Hellraiser. I love Saw.
That
So
was filmed the torture porn movie up there with Hostel.
Yeah.
Hostel.
it's hard for me to do a top 5. Maybe next time I'll do a top 10, but
Fair enough,
those are definitely in there for sure.
One's another subject. All the songs.
There's only so much I can deal with before I'm like,
Achilles tendon cutting.
There's a great one of those in Pet Cemetery.
Oh, yes, there is, yes.
It's Urban Monsters.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's for everywhere.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good.
Roger, what you got? You got a top 5 or some random spattering of movies?
Right.
That was mine. Was a random spattering.
Right.
Random spattering.
So I'd say for me, like, the top 5 movies would be, like, for me, honestly, the ones I could watch, obviously, you know, Halloween being the first one, you know, the old school one. But then, same thing with Taking. It's kind of like there's a lot of them that I really can't, like, number down the list. But definitely, for sure, the ones that really, for me, the horror movies will definitely kind of like, get me all janky. You know, obviously, Mouth of Madness being one. The first Alien movie, that's like once again, these are all movies that can really get me all sideways and like, yo, they're doing a good job. And
Quick note on Alien. This was one of the first movies that I saw. It was a TV broadcast on the CBS. So they
Oh,
cut
shit.
some stuff out. I was very young. So it came out in 78.
Yeah.
77.
I think so. Yeah, I want to say it did.
Anyway, so by the time mid-80s, it was hitting like broadcast TV, you know, multiple years later.
Right.
And it was cut for TV and whatnot. But I remember they still had the chest burster scene, and they
Yeah.
still had egg opening up and jumping on this guy's face.
Oh, yeah.
I remember I could barely stay awake because it was coming out like 8:30, and my bedtime was at 9.
Oh, yeah.
I just want to watch this all day. They were premiering. They're going to play it that night. I just want
Oh,
to
yeah.
watch it, and I saw that much of it, and I was so scared. And from that moment on, how I portrayed this with my toys was I went to my great grandfather's like fishing lures, those rubber fishing lures, and I cut the worm head off, and I would Play-Doh it into the chest of all my Star Wars figures. So a lot of my Star Wars figures have this red Play-Doh like color to them because it would stain the plastic on the figure. But anyway,
Never
so,
changed.
Fun side, yeah, never changed my clothes. Anyway, go ahead.
But, well, yeah, so from Aliens, and then. So, one movie I will put in here, I will never watch again, but I will give it kudos. Once again, The Thing.
The Thing, making a
Like,
fourth appearance.
It
The
really
Thing,
is, because,
man.
like, once again, this is one movie I refuse to watch it because I saw as a kid, it scarred the shit out of me. I'm like,
Nice.
nah, man, I
So,
cannot sit.
would you know a Thing watch party is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Y'all can have a Thing watch party.
Oh,
I'm
no,
going to be
no,
at
no.
home doing
No,
my
no,
own thing.
no,
In
no.
my own thing.
My own dojo.
That was a forced pun there. I'm not gonna lie, guys. Anyway, but then we also have like from my old school ones. We got Bram Stoker's Dracula with Gary Oldman. That's
great.
to me it's always gonna be a timeless classic. And honestly, my fifth one, it's a terrible movie, but it's what got me into the series in the first place. It was Halloween H2O.
Yay!
Yeah, let's go.
I saw that in a drive-in.
Yeah, so,
Oddly enough,
so
there's not even drive-ins around. One drive-in to watch this movie. It was hot as balls. We had been given July or August.
oh yeah, no, it's because I remember they showed that. I just remember it was on ABC when they used to do the movie nights on Halloween.
Yeah.
It was on ABC when I saw it. Like at the time, I was like, "Holy shit!" I was like, I thought it was a pretty good action movie at the time because, like, oh, killer trying to kill. But that's it is terrible. I rewatched it. I'm like, she has a son, Josh Hartnett, and Little Cootie's a security guard.
Great movie.
I'm watching the movie. This is terrible.
Great, terrible movie.
It really was. At the time, I was like, dude, this guy's badass. And I started looking at the Halloween movies, like, holy shit. And then years go by, I started watching it. Yeah, this movie's terrible, but I love it. Like, it is, like I said, it is one of those that got me into the whole Halloween series. I will honestly watch it this day. I love it. It's terrible. It's a bad movie. Definitely check it out if you want to have a good time with bad shit. Honestly, that's like my fifth one in there. I'm going to leave it at that.
So we spent 2 hours, and we're going to end on
Halloween
Halloween
H2O.
Yes, we
We
are.
don't have to because I can say that some good honorable mentions. I think all that we can all agree on that was some pretty decent movies. Was Carrie.
Carrie? Oh, Carrie's a
Yeah.
classic.
We have Reanimated that we talked a little bit.
Yeah. That one's up there for me, too.
For me, another good one was The Exorcist.
Exorcist.
The Exorcist
Yeah,
was good.
yeah.
Exorcist, that one still counts.
So I do want to throw another honorable mention in there just because I can't leave without talking about it. No. The horror movie Mama, if you've never
Oh,
seen
yeah,
it.
I
I
saw
just
that one.
recently watched it.
Yeah, Mama is
replaces that dude's blood with dog blood.
no. That's not in that
What
movie.
movie is that? That's
No.
my...
Oh.
Yeah, you'll
Yeah.
watch Mama and not
That
only
movie got me on a tangent. I swear to God.
Oh, Mama, that's the one with the ghost thing.
yeah,
The ghost nun, or the ghost...
Not only go watch Mama, but go watch the contortionist that plays Mama doing the screen test for her.
Dude is
Yeah.
She is a real person. Like, holy
Oh,
shit.
it's a guy. Yeah, it's
Oh, who's
yeah.
a guy?
It's-
Oh, shit.
Yeah,
How
so
much I've been drinking tonight?
the hair is the only thing CGI. That's a real person. Other than
Yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah.
You know how long his fingers are?
Oh, that looks-
that's
Yeah,
actually-
that's them.
oh,
Yeah,
no.
He's got
Yeah.
a rare condition, but he's got super long center.
Yeah, I remember that part.
It's awful. Go look it up.
Modern movie that spooked the hell out of me, and also annoyed me as hard as it spooked me out, was Babadook.
I hate
Oh,
that
yeah, the
movie.
Babadook.
That movie sucks.
It does. But
Everybody who thinks that's a good movie has a wrong opinion.
Wait for the comments, everybody.
It just creeped. Just the special effects of it creeped me out. The kid annoyed the hell out of me. Anyway,
No, I will say,
bringing up modern horror.
man, for
We didn't get too
Mama...
much Mama, but we didn't want to get Mama, right? Because what really formed us as we were growing up was all those great horror movies.
Yeah.
The good movies, the good ones.
Horror from the 80s.
I like the bad movies.
And the bad ones.
We'll see, like,
Hey, the
I-
B's from the A's are better than a lot
Man,
of movies today.
but I was-
The B is still passing, folks.
Right? My little mini tangent on Mama was they could have gotten away scot-free if that little girl had kept her mouth
Who
shut.
gotta have you?
I'm like, God, keep her mouth shut, little girl. You can make it out of here, Mama. You wish she comes and swoops her away. Like, well, now you're dead. I don't care. I'm leaving.
Well, the kid, they meant business.
They did at the very end for like the last 10 minutes. What are they gonna do
What
now?
a sell. They phoned it in and jumped it in.
Well, I guess like I don't know if they killed her. They just I guess they pass on.
No, we don't.
I don't know. I don't care. I'm already getting angry at that movie. I'm
Either
done.
way, that's the horror movies on that there. That was the Hollywood podcast.
Or Halloween special. Hollywood. I mean, it is Hollywood.
It's alright, you've had a few in your Spaceballs pint glass.
Baseball's the pint glass. We'll have another conversation about that. But
Oh, definitely.
again, I'm Nate.
I'm Roger.
DJ T8, also known as Tate.
Just 8.
And I'm Mike from the Lucky Starship Arcade.
And thank you very much for joining us again. Thank you, Mike, for letting us have our podcast there. And we will see you in another couple of weeks, I'm sure. Y'all take care.
So see you tomorrow, right?